Hello, you're listening to the Eric McKenna Project.
You found a place, right?
That was easy. I've never been in Coraopolis. This is my first time here.
Really?
Yeah, no. The turn.
Bring us back to you a little bit. I'm cool with you sitting back, man. As long as
it's close. Yeah. No, this is the great thing about, to me, at least in Pittsburgh, is it's just a million different neighborhoods. So I'll drive around just because I want to see what's going on in different places. I've never taken come on, I just got my concealed carry, baby. Here in Pennsylvania, yeah, I got a gun, and now I can carry it without anybody knowing, because in Pennsylvania, it's super easy to do. No, so I've never taken, I came from the South Hills, north on 79, that exit 51 over here.
Yeah.
Never got off that exit before. So
really?
Everything, I'm just like, and your city, Pittsburgh, has a very, you guys are like, you're river rats. You guys are, this is a city that was, I mean, you're trash. It's like, it's hill trash. They had a city dropped into it because that was commerce through the rivers.
Right.
So everything looks like there's a city, but it's the topography looks like where I'm from, which is just hilly Appalachia. I mean, it's a city in Appalachia. So I popped off there, and it's fun to look around and see what's happening, who's out there doing stuff. So I found the place just fine. I found the place, but let me tell you, I went nice and slow. I was just looking at people like, what are you guys up to? This is a weird little spot here, isn't it? Here downtown. I'll do weird stuff. I'll find an exit I've never been off of, eat at their restaurant that's like, would be like right out there, and I'll just hang out.
Yeah, you're exploring. I mean, that's the benefit of, I think that's a benefit of not being from here. You know, everything is just new, somewhat, anyways.
Very new.
Yeah.
And more than other cities, I guess is what I'm saying. There's more to explore here.
You just came back from a trek upstate New York, or is it Western New York? Is that right?
I was in Buffalo. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, Western New York.
We won't hold that against you.
I like that all these Rust Belt cities all think they're better than the next one. Like, you're not all the exact same. It's hysterical. You guys are dorks. I mean,
is Pittsburgh a Rust Belt city? I mean, you know, really?
I bet you, no, not now. But I bet you've talked to anybody who is over the age of 50, or if you watch an NFL broadcast, they act like every person still works in the steel mills here.
Yeah, no question.
It's not that way at all here.
No question. No, not at all.
So is it Rust Belt? Probably
still
not as much
here.
Not as much as it used to be, but it's certainly Rust Belt.
Okay.
The whole idea, I mean, I think that Cleveland, Columbus, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, and then moving over towards Chicago, you're all the same people. I don't think they're much. Cincinnati, I don't find you guys to be, any of us to be different.
See, I feel Cincinnati has more of a southern feel to it, you know?
Yeah, sure.
A little bit
more.
Now, Columbus, I think, is more in line with where we are. Indiana.
I think Pittsburgh's done a better job of turning it, like, giving itself a new name. It actually bothers me how proletariat they act like Pittsburgh is. Everyone's like,
that's been going on forever.
I was like, shut up. You look at the medical technology. I mean, look at what's the young people who've moved here, and with the money that's come in here, all the new restaurants and art.
Just think about this for a second. If we did not have a prominent football team and somewhat prominent hockey team, think about how bad the outward optics would be at that time. Because really the only time anyone gets a little peek at it is during a national broadcast where the announcers will say it's a Renaissance city and da-da-da, and it's no longer the dirty steel town. That's what we always heard. But if that didn't exist, I mean, they would
expect they're just putting fries on sandwiches and dipping it in ranch like scumbags. That's all they'd say. I think this city. I mean, I chose to live here I came here, and I chose to live here because I liked it, because it's enough of a city for me that has all the things that I want. All the major stuff that I want is going to come through here. It has the sports. It's still close to where I'm from.
Right.
The people they resemble people that I grew up with.
Right on.
And so, I mean, I said, I'll find work here. I'll make it happen here. I like Pittsburgh, and then I'm here. I mean, I own a home here. So
yeah, I mean, would never get a vibe from you that you weren't, you know, a Yinzer.
Yeah,
whatever that actually means. Because I'm probably not a Yinzer, but I guess I am by lived here, so I don't.
Yinzer's
feel
like punk rock, man. It's,
there's an analogy. Like, why don't you bridge that one together for me?
Not very difficult. Yeah, I like it here. I mean, but it's just I'm telling you, there's no. I travel around this area a lot. Yeah. I did for work. I traveled around Pennsylvania, rural New York, rural Ohio for the last over a decade.
Okay,
I've done that. People aren't different. I like when people from cities act like they're different than people who like live 20 minutes down the road. It's like, sure, you don't know how to ride a dirt bike and they do, and you have slightly better restaurants, but like, you're not different.
Yeah, it's. I think you have city slickers always looking down at people that are not from the city.
Oh, that's for sure.
And then the other way you have scorn coming the other direction too.
Absolutely.
It's just handled differently. That's all.
Yeah, people should just get along with.
You think?
It'd be a lot easier.
Life would be a lot easier, man.
You think you can get along with somebody? Somebody in a suit and tie should be able to go out and milk a cow, and the guy who's milking the cow should be able to go and sit. And should be able to sit down in a nice restaurant and have manners as well.
It's not rocket science.
It's real simple.
Yeah, and and you always, at least when I was young, I said, well, if you're a young person, you need like sports. It's teams. Well, if Americans would view themselves as a team, and we're all in this quote unquote together, whatever that means loosely, the adversaries are outside our borders. Not inside our borders, right? And we just don't fucking get it.
No, not at all.
I mean, that's as politics as I'll go, but that's generally like we just do not want to be nice to each other. Yeah, I don't get that.
No, well, because they're doing that. They're all doing that. Both everybody's doing that to us. There's the divide and conquer that has existed over these last couple of decades, and it happened when I was younger. It's 100% what's happening.
But shame on us for being so fucking manipulated, man. I mean, like we're so susceptible to manipulation anymore. I mean, today more than ever.
I think I want to believe I think yes, we are. I think there's a good contingent of people who are running down the middle, who have their eyes open and see that they are. There's
not
a lot
enough,
of people,
though.
But not enough.
Not enough. I live in the middle, and I pride myself on living in the middle, or doing my best way of doing the best I can. Pragmatism is my thing. There needs to be a pragmatic party. Is it Democratic or Republican? The pragmatic party.
There's no nuance left in any conversation anymore. It's over. But yeah, I think they're 100% making it so that way we can't.
There's not enough people in the center, though.
No, probably not.
But they're probably there. They just don't recognize it, or they don't want to admit it.
Yeah. It's getting hard too, because media is we're in a whole new world right now too. So I mean, unfortunately, we're just getting guinea pigged out on it. I hope that, and it's happened, that over time people will understand how we're being manipulated in certain ways. And
I hope
kids
the
are going
eyes
to.
get opened.
I think it will. They'll have to. I mean, we're not all idiots, and they'll start getting bored of the way information is disseminated to people.
Every generation is better than the prior, and I know that the prior wants to talk down to them, but ultimately every generation improves society.
For sure.
And so that's going to continue to happen, and the people are going to wake up at some point in time. It's going to happen. I don't know when.
I think it's going to happen. Do you ever think there was a time when this is stupid, but I always thought it was funny that like every generation does think the generation before them was like didn't work. Like every time you catch a guy who was in high school, he was like, back in my day, like it was tougher to make state for wrestling and all that bullshit. Right? Happens all the time. But that also means that if everyone felt like that, there was like, isn't it funny to think about like World War I veterans kind of being like, come on, World War II veterans, are they really that good? Like a little bit. Like World War I's like, no, we had the original war, we were great. But then World War II people came by and kind of like, yeah, but we beat Hitler, and these World War I guys are just at some VFW.
Did you see the hats we had to wear?
Dude, I was building a trench through the goddamn Atlantic. I was killing rats. You guys were yeah.
That's a good one, man, because I used to wonder that as a kid. I'm like, I never seen a rivalry between the World War I and
so I'm saying, they're better. Like these, I didn't get a fucking Hitler to chase down. Be fucking furious, dude. Yeah, because you want to be like, I'm the biggest of bats. Like, you won the First World War, and then these little punk-ass kids, you were wiping their ass. They come around and go, no, hey, old man, take a chill first, shut the fuck up. I'm going to go kill Hitler. I'm going to save the world from Nazism. Be like, fuck, they are better than me.
It is, but there is something to be said about maybe the simplicity of life at that time. Like, it's not fair to compare Vietnam veterans to World War II veterans, because different war, different society,
sure,
different leadership, different attitudes, everything, and it's almost impossible. But I think that we innately compare. That's what we do. That's the human experience, is comparison.
That's all anything is in comedy. At least that's all you do the whole time.
That's the essence of comedy.
Oh, this is comparing and contrasting and making analogous statements. That's all. That's almost all it is. Finding a way to disguise that.
You were just on Goat Fest with Light, huh?
I did do. Yes, I did. Yes, I did Goat Fest. I liked that it was Goat Fest, the greatest of all time, and it's like 4 dipshits in a field that all have day jobs. Yeah, the greatest of all time. Yeah, and one is a bartender, one works at a call center. The greatest of all time. Yeah, fucking 4 B-city loser comics calling themselves the greatest of all time.
Takes balls.
Just to a mud pie filled cow shit field that's raining and cold.
Yeah, weather was
to
nasty.
Talk about the detachment and the delusion in the 5 of us. I'll tell you one thing you'll say about Matt Light. That dude is he will entertain.
He did this show.
He's got fans. I swear to God, it's fun.
There's no doubt.
And it's
no doubt.
I bag on comedy in B cities all the because that's what I do. And if I took myself too seriously, I'd fucking quit.
Right.
But he's one of the few people who he cultivates a fan base. They come out and see him.
Very loyal.
Yeah, it's funny. They see him do his jokes, and he just calls them fat and tells them they're handicapped or whatever. And they were like, "Thank you, dude." "Thank you, sir. May I have another?" Stuff. And they show up, and his shows.
Pittsburgh thing. The Pittsburghers react that way.
No.
You get around.
The same people. He would be able to do that in any other city. Okay. The same type of people.
I'm surprised the wrestling stick still fucking works.
That blows,
great. Blows. Oh no! I'm not making judgment, good or bad. I'm just surprised that. Yeah, maybe a little.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe a little. The whole Austin, Rock thing. Is The Rock finally at some point? Is he peaking a little bit? I mean, because I heard his latest movie just kind of is not box office, and he's the most popular man on the planet. I get it.
Yeah,
it's
Rock
awesome. Everything 24/7. I get it.
Yeah.
I like The Rock. But even The Rock is going to, at some point in time, going to crest. You can't always.
Probably when he runs for president, he'll stop being as popular.
I think that's going to happen.
If he's a fucking idiot, maybe.
Why would you give up that amazing life?
Stupid you'd have to be.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be more money than God.
Yeah,
to take a low rent paying job, and your life's torn apart.
No. But that's the point. Once you've made, and
I guess
that's what. Once you've made enough money where it doesn't matter anymore, the only thing that matters is that you can lord over people.
I guess.
And that's the last thing to do. He doesn't need money.
He's Trump.
Yeah, dude. You think he loved? Because that's the whole thing. I don't need to do this job. I don't need to do this job. And then when he got the job wrested away from him, he was like, no, I still have the job. In fact, it's because the power was cool.
Yeah,
he didn't need money.
There's no question.
Do you know what always bugged? It was always kind of funny. And this isn't really political, but
that's all right.
He became everyone's he's a failed because everyone's maybe he doesn't have money, he doesn't have this fine. I don't care, don't wait to it. But he's a failed dude, and I was he became the most powerful guy in the world, probably second to China, but let's not get into. But he became he's not failed anymore officially because everyone was that was the big bag, right? They just dunked on him you're failed, you went bankrupt or something. But then he did become the most powerful guy in the world. You at least can't deny that.
Americans and maybe humans in general, but old guy observation.
Okay.
Envy is the worst human trait imaginable, and the bottom line is simply this: we will lash out and attack, and oftentimes it's rooted in envy or jealousy. And anyone that will attack him,
people. He's kind of a piece. He's kind of he's a hateable guy.
Undeniable. But I mean, but to say he's failed.
Yeah.
The guy has made fortunes, lost them, made them again, lost them. Okay, so he used tax loopholes. I guess he didn't invent the tax loopholes. They were there. He used them. I'm just saying.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't do that being a fucking moron.
Well, you know he did.
You just don't.
Just crazy. And I mean, and he'll get in trouble for stuff, whatever. I don't care. But it goes back to like, are people easily like manipulated? And he put like a lot of his value on, hey, my name is worth so much. You know how much money he puts in? Just his name is crazy. And it's like, but it's true, because he doesn't do anything. He slaps his name on it. It's worth something. He's like, it stands for class.
It did for a while.
And like $3 billion. And then he might have ruined it by running for president. He kind of had the life. That's where we got to this. Guy had the life. What was he doing? I mean, he has an ugly, dipshitty looking man, dude. You have better hair than he does. Right?
I know I do.
And bald guy, dude. And that guy was like, but power would be fucking tight. And he did. He got it. So, yeah, The Rock will go down once the hubris and when he power grabs it.
If he was smart, he really would stay really far away from that, right?
So far away. Yeah. And every time anybody says, he doesn't ever tell people to not say that either.
Like, what do you mean?
People talk about it all the time.
Oh,
you
knew
he
that,
doesn't
right? Discourage. He doesn't discourage.
People talk about. He's never come up like, "Shut up! I don't want to do it." That'd be the move. Yeah, no way. This is pretty cool.
But I mean,
a gym follows me like it's like it's puppy dogs. Everywhere I go, I just turn around. Fucking, there's a gym for me.
That life has to be nuts, though. I mean, we sit and say, the money's great. Look at all materialism stuff. Eventually, once you can have anything, I would imagine it's got to be beyond boring. Once you get it all, and you can have anything. Once you get through the fun, couple months, a year maybe, but then to be examined and then have to keep up this social media day in, day out, face on this, promoting this, doing this, working out like a madman. You can't tell me that's fun. There's nothing fun about picking up weights every day for hours. I'm sorry. Eventually,
well, he's
that's going to get old.
Eric, he's an addict. He's addicted to a lot of things. That's why that's happening. I mean, it's not just like the material. It's also like he's addicted to working out. You don't get that big without having a problem. Everything in moderation. That's clearly not moderation, Rock. But he has to do that, stay that big for his jobs to keep being the mountain of a man that he is. Do you notice you said something about when is it enough? Mm-hmm. I'll tell you, the smartest thing that was ever said to me, or at least my favorite thing, is that my first boss I ever had in the real world, I used to work sharpening knives. Sharpening knives. He worked for Cutco. You know Cutco knives?
I heard of them, yes.
Yeah. And so he like sharpened knives. And then he got a job in his current industry. He was my first boss.
Okay.
And he made significantly more money. And he's just a cool dude. And we were drinking in Pittsburgh. We were over near Aliquippa.
Right on.
We were at a bar that was like in a strip mall that was near that Beaver County, like near Robert Morris area.
Okay.
Monaca?
Yeah.
Is Monaca?
Wait, is Robert Morris done?
Or no, sorry. What's the... Robert Morris isn't near Monaca, Aliquippa?
Bob Morris is in Moon Township.
Shit, I don't know where I'm at.
That's right.
Okay, well, here's what he said. All he said was, he's like, Senneca, when I used to sharpen knives every day, every week, I'd go home, I'd drink a Natty Light, and mow my lawn. Now I have this job. I go home, I drink a Coors Light, and I have a riding lawnmower. He's like, it doesn't matter how much more money I make right now, I still am going to drink a beer, I'm going to mow my lawn. And that's it. So, everything should be fine. Like you don't have to go too crazy for anything. It doesn't change much once you get more money. So your point being, like, when does it become too much? It should have been too much a long time ago. All he did was do...
I never felt that way until I got older, though. Like, I mean, I still believe that you should be able to earn as much as you want and owe no one an explanation. It's up to what you want to do, as long as you're not hurting anybody. But you can be as industrious as you want to be. If you want to earn... if Musk wants to earn another $300 billion, if he wants to be the first trillionaire, if that's a goal of his, as long as he's not hurting anybody, I don't care what he does. And I'm not going to judge him for that reason. No. Now, I will tell you, I've had my eyes open. That Dr. Brock on here, which he said, look, he says, what I will tell you is I respect the man's right to do that. But I think about all the problems in the world that can be solved to help other humans with money that's just sitting in a bank, someone's staring at it. I mean, that money could be put to good use to help people.
Oh, for sure.
And that's where I think as I've changed my opinion as I've gotten older and thinking, maybe we need to look a little more philanthropic here. We almost have a responsibility to do that.
Didn't he get all of his seed money from his mother in South Africa doing some terrible torture uranium mine?
I don't know about that. I know he made money at PayPal was a thing.
PayPal.
He was involved with that.
What did his mom do? This shows you how stupid I am. I'm like, I was like, in order to make that much money, you ever see someone with like a lot of money? Dude, and you just got to look at them and be like, someone suffered so you can make that much money. Once you make that much money,
of course.
So when you're like, as long as you're not hurting anybody, but like that's somebody else's money. Definitely a little bit of it is. And so then my mind was like, I might have heard like 3 things sometimes about Elon Musk or whatever, which I don't pay any attention to. I was like,
funny, man.
And some of his seed money come from, I guess, isn't he running a child slave camp in Uganda or something? Or his mom is Ghislaine Maxwell or some shit like that,
God.
or. Just I don't know, man. I don't know at all. I'm making that up, but I think so. I think that's probably spot on, though.
Well, there's always some angle when you sit and think. If you really dig deep, I'm probably going to guess that your local greengrocer, back in the 70s, is not currently a billionaire. I mean, that's just the stretch between that little grocery market all the way to having $1 billion. Possible. Unlikely. There's always usually an angle in there somewhere.
Yeah, somebody with some money comes in there, lies to him a little bit, buys it cheap, and then makes it big. It's good, man.
Or this family or whatever.
I don't begrudge anybody for making your money.
As long as they're not hurting anybody, right?
That's the whole everything, right?
I think.
All the way down the line is as long as you're not hurting other people or affecting other people. That's the thing.
Yeah, we don't live that way though. I don't know why.
Well, you're probably you don't.
I'm just saying, as a society, we don't live that way. We're so quick to judge on everybody.
Maybe it's because we just don't have the ability to look in the future too much. We're too immediate.
Okay. What about the idea that maybe people are too busy watching other people live their lives and not spending enough time
through like the phone,
like
this, through the phone?
The phone's probably a contributor to that, but I think social media in general, just the power of the keyboard and the anonymity of it all.
Oh, yeah. You don't get punched.
Mike Tyson said that, right? That's the problem with the internet. He says back when I was young, and he said that to someone, you turn around and get punched in the mouth.
Yeah, everybody thinks they're smarter than what they are. You don't have to back it up. I mean, wasn't on social media until I started comedy, and I was told that I had to. It's like, you have to if you want to do this thing. And I was told that like when I was just like a couple of weeks in an open mic, and I fought it. I was like, I'm not going to do it. And I mean,
do you like it better without it in your life, or are you okay with it?
Social media? Hate it.
Yeah,
I don't want it at all. Like, I don't like it. I don't like how much it takes up my time.
Comment, because I kind of feel that way, and it doesn't make any sense because I grew a guitar business with it. Then I am a realtor, so I have to be out there, and then I did this crazy thing. So it's kind of a necessity now. But I actually have said to myself, man, if I could eviscerate that from my day in, day out life, just going about my business, doing my job.
Why do you think people are depressed and killing themselves? It's 100% social media. If you look at all,
I think you're right, man.
I know nothing. Again, none of this is researched. I'm gonna say, being honest, from when you ask me a question to when I say something through here, it just started working, and I'm working it through half a word before.
I get it.
I bet you if you looked at teenage numbers right now and the advent of of social media, I would put everything that I have that numbers are climbing, and maybe they're being reported more, but are climbing in direct relationship to social media usage.
Why?
Because your unhealthy expectations, it's all false, it's phony, and you have because you can't tell how much scrutiny is actually on you, so you're going to build up extra scrutiny, and you're valuing your self-worth based on too many people. It's not right here. It used to be about friends and family. They're right there. It's all politics is local. Care about your friends and family first. Right on. We expanded it to where everything exists. Now you're trying to make sure that you have the approval of somebody you don't know. You also think that person is, you're trying to get that. You think they're looking at you, judge you, and that person is on the other side of the world. And somehow you've allowed yourself to believe that person you've allowed them to affect you because you believe that you have some relationship with them. The borders have gotten smaller. I don't know. So I just assume it's It's made up in your own mind. It's bullshit.
I think so. When I was young, one of the lectures that an adult would give you when you were embarrassed by something, saying, look, you think the end of the world's coming because they're going to make fun of you. The reality is no one really gives a shit.
What is it? Like,
don't be arrogant enough to think that people fucking really care.
The saying, it's the... you wouldn't worry as much about what people think of when you realize how little they even think of you, or something like that.
I think that's even
something like that.
Yes, I think that's even more exacerbated in social media now. However, we're living as if we are more concerned about the possibility of being judged. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
It's really an interesting thing, and I almost say to myself, as a 55-year-old guy, like, I don't need this in my life.
No, you don't. I don't know what you're doing. I think you're insane, personally. This is a foolhardy endeavor. I think it's one. But
probably.
You just dip. You're doing it for yourself, though. No, I think that you're doing it right. You said something earlier, and I don't mean to.
No.
You are just, whatever happens out of this happens out of this. Very punk rock mentality. That's the way it's supposed to go.
Yes.
You're just doing this until if something happens, something happens. If not,
fun anymore.
It doesn't. And I think that's allowed. But
it's not fun anymore.
But you jumped into a world where you have to be a part of this thing. Well, be a part of this machine. But as long as you keep that mentality, like this. If it starts sucking too much, I'm out of here. I think you'll be all right.
Well, I thank you. I think the idea was to see if anyone found value in it. The idea of putting people together and talking with no agenda, like literally no ads, no agenda, and paying for it, just doing an experiment. Because all this really is an experiment. Now, social media was the vehicle to put it out there for free. So that's kind of the essence of, and then it just kind of, people started digging it. We just kept doing shows, and it kind of grew legs. Enough that I wanted to keep doing it, but I was having a blast, and I wouldn't do it if it wasn't fun. The moment isn't fun, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, so you're all right. So you're going to be able to box out like the negativity as much as you can.
Yeah, well, the comments are relevant. I mean, I don't even have comments turned on. I don't think in like the YouTube stuff or the thing.
Oh, are you
No, I haven't turned off.
What about on Facebook? Do you read comments on Facebook?
On the business page, yeah, I guess.
Do you get shitty reviews?
No.
That'd be crazy, right?
No one's looking to attack anybody for locally. I mean, I was always thinking I'm going to have someone on this town that's, someone is in comedy or someone that's an entertainer or a musician, and I'm sure in your life you've pissed off one or two people.
Me? Yeah, dude.
So some enemy of someone is going to see this show and like go at him, right? It's never happened. I'm waiting for it to happen.
Oh, well,
if you jacked off at him, let her rip in the comments. I'm just saying it hasn't happened yet, which is crazy. 214, you're number 214. This is nuts.
214, baby. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think a lot of people give a shit about me. So
wow.
I would. I mean, I bet you. I think people are living rent free in my head, and they're not actually giving a shit about me. Anything. So I don't think anybody's going to be coming around in your comment section to shit on me.
Well, the funniest thing about this is when this started, I said to myself, I'm not going to have any sponsors, I don't think. In the beginning, I didn't know what I was going to do. And then once I was sure about 20 shows in, I'm going to do this for fun. And I'm saying, who the fuck is going to watch this thing? And then like by the time I got to show 40, I was having so much fun. And then I started paying attention. Because I would just, I had everything set up. I'd upload it here, and then it would get proliferated here. And then once a week, I'd start looking to see what's happening. Then I started looking at the Facebook numbers on the views on the Facebook video, and I'm like, who is going to sit in the playthroughs?
You think it's production value?
It was ridiculous. Maybe.
Could be. You have a good voice.
I don't know.
No, you don't. You don't know if you have a good voice.
We look like we know what we're doing.
You do look like you know what you're doing.
Yeah,
but I think that you do.
It's just fun.
Don't sell yourself short.
It's fun.
Good looking dude, deep voice, good production value.
What can I say? I'm a god, but a humble one.
You're a god, but a humble one.
Yeah.
All right.
I gotta be humble, right?
I hope so.
I just think I don't understand what the fuck I'm doing here. But you know what? People like yourself have come on. The conversations have been amazing. And I think if I quit tomorrow, my grandchildren, if they eventually have grandchildren, or my children as they grow older, this is almost like a diary of their father's thoughts, experiences, conversations. It's there for perpetuity. I don't have that of my father, my mother, or my grandparents. So if anything, maybe it's like a little little diary or a time
They look at him like, Grandpa was a douche. Did you guys check that shit out?
But that's okay. If that's what they think.
That would be a bummer, dude. You're telling me that would be okay?
But then again,
or they think you're cool.
Do I really care? I mean, at that point in time, I'm not out here doing anything embarrassing or rude. I'm just being myself. Not. I'm just saying, if my grandchild has a...
The kid would be a piece of shit if they thought that. Good point. I see what you're saying. If my great-grandchild goes to my grave and goes, great-grandpa, your thoughts on fucking whatever sucks. You reach out of the grave and choke the little ungrateful shit. You came from my balls, you asshole. How dare you? Dude, I think it's tough when you get older. Like, I don't have any children,
funny,
but I would.
It's funny.
I get why parents would slap a kid like on some disrespectful shit. That would bother me. Like, you didn't exist, and then you're gonna act, because especially teenagers. Like, I know who I was when I was a teenager. I thought I was the smartest person in the world, and I probably deserved a couple of the slaps that I had when I was younger.
Yeah,
should have.
That's okay. So that's funny. You're 38, right? So
38. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah, he's 38. He's 38. So I never hit my kids, and I never was inclined to do so. I had this really weird thing. Like, I got very lucky because I probably, after the aggravation I've given my own parents, you thought for sure I would get the two children from hell that would just torture me. It went the other direction. So I never had an inclination.
How old are they?
20 and 18 now. So, I mean, it's past the hitting stage. I mean, like,
no, it's not, dude. This is when it starts. You have a son? Do you have a son?
Son's 20, yeah.
Dude, he's coming for you. This is firmly, you gotta fight your dad. You gotta fight your dad. I think this is a thing. We gotta figure out that you gotta figure out who's the man in the family. It's something.
Is that how it's done, huh?
I fought my dad. What's up? For sure fought my dad. And I'm not gonna do I mean, I have bits about it, like that I tell on stage, but I 100% fought my dad. Yeah, my dad used to be
6'4", though. He's got the reach on me. I'd be in a bad way.
You look scrappy, dude. Learn how to. You seem like you might. You ever dabble in jiu-jitsu? You look like an old guy who'd get into jiu-jitsu.
I did Tung Sudo, stand-up karate for a while.
See, come on, man.
Yeah,
6'4".
He's something.
How tall are you?
I'm just 6, a little under 6.
Mom was a tall lady.
Oh, really? My father and mother shorter than us.
Definitely your kid, though, right?
I think.
Oh, dude.
I hope.
Everyone, yeah, I mean, all right.
I wonder sometimes.
He looks like Yao Ming. You're like, I think he's mine. I think
my daughter looks like me, but my son, not right quite sure. But
no, you should. Well, I mean, this is not. I don't think you should, but I think. What's your son's name?
Major.
Which camera's on me the most? This one here.
That one right there. Buddy.
That one. Major is his name.
Austin. I call him Major. His middle name's Major. I call him Major. Everybody else calls him Austin.
Major. Like, when not now, still looks spry. Actually, you probably could kick his ass now. I mean, take him out one time. And I don't care if it's on his deathbed. I don't care if he's hooked up to drugs. I was like, just elbow drop him right through that gurney. Take him, just so he doesn't go into Twilight thinking he's still on top. Let him know that it's tough guy genes are passed on. Do it. Whatever. You should fight your kids. Don't. My mom, fight your kids.
Great. That's great. I can't imagine being upset with them. We've never had that kind of. I don't know. I mean, now granted, it was a divorce situation, so I wasn't the parent that had them 24/7. So
weekend dad, or is it
more than weekends? But it was, but it wasn't like they were living full time with me. They would come and stay a couple nights a week, but their full time resident was with their mother. So I didn't see probably some of the nastiness that they.
Same city.
Yeah.
Same city.
Yeah. So, I probably had it easy. I was the good time parent, right? Everything was great. And
it's easy.
Candy and everything.
Yeah, dude, you had to put in like a 20% shift on their childhood. The kid's so great. Yeah, because you spend all the time at Kennywood, dickhead.
Chuck E. Cheese, yeah.
And every time they're pissed off, they come to you and you're like, she is kind of a bitch. I get, hey, listen, between me and you, Major, don't sleep in the same bed now, do I? All right, moved out on the bitch. I didn't mean that. That's obviously his voice, Major, not mine. Right?
Oh my God.
Hey, Major, I fucking get it. Let me tell you, I couldn't even breathe correctly in the same room as her. Every time I'd cook chicken, they made her nauseous. Every time I watched football, made her nauseous. I don't fucking know, kid. So I'm gonna piss her off. Make her chicken parm during the Super Bowl. She'll fucking lose it. I don't know.
Oh,
What's your daughter's name?
Gwen.
Gwen. What's the short for? Oh, can I guess? Or can I just ask? Tell me it's Guinevere.
It's not.
Son of a bitch. I think that's a good name. Guinevere, Gwyneth. What is it?
It's Gwendolyn.
Gwendolyn is strong. Yeah, that's a good name. Gwendolyn, and that was right around the time Gwen Stefani was coming around, and she was the
2000.
thing.
Okay, so I'm
Red bra,
to even
no
tell
doubt.
You this. Yeah, I'm all about that, but that wasn't the reason why I named my daughter Gwen.
I like to name my daughter after things I wanted to have sex with.
Well,
that's crazy.
yeah,
I guess that's a good point.
So I'll admit this. I wanted to name her Gwen after my great aunt. Well,
hell yeah.
I do. I name her Gwendolyn on the card. I go out to the nurse's station and write it out.
It's not your grandma's name?
I call my great aunt on the phone. I said, Aunt Gwen, I said, I just, I had a baby girl and I just named her after you. I named her Gwendolyn. And she goes, it's Gwyneth, honey. I'm like, too late now. Too late now. I'm like, it's already written. The fingerprints already on it. It's done.
That is funny.
Yeah, that's the story.
And by the way, Aunt Gwen, I clearly don't love you that much. I can't believe I have you saved in my fucking phone. This is nuts. You did not deserve that $5 every day. You didn't even know your aunt's name. What a slap in the face, Eric. Unbelievable.
I know. That's me.
That's funny.
That's me, man. Yeah.
That's cool. That's a good story.
Yeah. That was.
Did your daughter know that story too? She obviously does.
She does. And the funny thing was about that, I wanted to name my son Major and some other middle name, and my wife at the time wanted Austin. So I said we compromised.
Sure.
So this time when they were sewing her up, I ran out to the nurse's station because she was supposed to be some other name.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, it was supposed to be Lee. That's
Leigh.
Yes.
Okay.
So I went out to the nurse's station and wrote in Gwendolyn Lee McKenna. And then I brought the card back.
So you were like, hey, listen.
It was too late. It was already done. I don't think I was appreciated very much, but that's how it went.
That's exactly.
That's how it went.
No, and that's exactly how it should have went. You compromised last time.
Damn it.
No, I mean, how could it not? Explain to me how that wasn't the fair thing.
I thought it was fair too. It didn't, go over very well at the moment, but that's what it is.
What was her argument? Her argument must have been, no, listen, last time you wanted Major and Austin, so it would have been Austin Major, and this next time I wanted Lee, you wanted Gwendolyn, and we're going to, again, do what I wanted and got last time.
Pretty much.
That's what she did. Yeah.
You know that species as well too, then, don't you?
I don't fuck with that. No. That's crazy. That would be a crazy. Well, I wouldn't put it.
It all worked out.
It's a weird, good co-parenting. I grew up in a very dysfunctional household, so that's why I feel very comfortable to do that.
No,
I'm sure you did a great job.
We did, yeah. So for a divorce circumstance, it couldn't have been any better, So
hell yeah,
everybody acted like adults, and the kids are better off for it. And I would recommend that anyway. If you are divorced, put the kids first. I'm off my soapbox, but just do it right.
Imagine that being the controversial statement.
Do it right.
I don't want you to get out of line here or delineate from the path of politics, but hey, don't hit your kids, and also if you could care about them, feed and water them if you can
daily.
Make sure they have shoes in the winter. You didn't say anything crazy. You just asked. Imagine
Don't play with knives.
I don't want to say anything crazy, but don't treat your kids like shit. Yeah.
And that's where we are today in society, right?
Are we?
I think so. We're apologizing for civility. Think about that. We apologize for civility.
Explain.
I think the obvious. We're so worried about offending people with traditional values when sometimes a traditional value is just a common sense act of decency, and we sometimes apologize for doing it in advance. It's crazy. We just need to be better people and quit worrying about offending somebody. As long as if we're not coming into it with the intention of hurting anybody, we're being genuine. That's enough.
Sure.
We don't have to, preface everything by saying, "Not to be rude."
Yeah, it's boring as shit.
It is.
It's boring. It's a big comedy thing.
How's that work for comedy now? I mean, that's the. I try to bring this up, and I get a bunch of different answers from comedians. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. But I'm confused. Middle-aged guy remembers Carlin and all these, and liking some of the new comics too. But I'm confused as to why there are rules in comedy. There was never rules in comedy decades prior, Didn't appear to be. And now all of a sudden we have rules in comedy because we don't want to hurt feelings. Well, my thing was, like Carlin said, fuck feelings. You paid the ticket. We're going to have fun.
Sure.
You're going to leave shortly, and then the big nasty world's waiting for you. While you're here for 2 hours, everything's on the table.
Sure. So you're asking me what are my thoughts on cancel culture? Is that what
is that cancel culture? Okay.
Is that or like canceling, like, or why we, or if there are rules?
I'm not asking you, is it the right thing to do to be a decent person? I think we all should be decent.
Yeah, for sure.
But in the essence of comedy, in that theater, to go and why are there rules?
Oh, there aren't. There aren't.
There aren't?
No, I mean, people have tried to create them. I think you can still you can still do whatever the hell you want. There's no freedom of consequences, I guess, in the end. You can still give it. I think that it's
like, what do you mean consequences?
I think it's been blown out of proportion, and I also think I'm thinking that it's going to end soon. Like I have this conversation all the time. I don't mean to. I'm trying not to be like flippant about it or anything because I know you're at like, it exists online, and we're starting to see, I think, that a lot of there's censorship. You can't say what you want. Is just it's babble online. And I think that once we stop taking it seriously, it will start to fade into the background. Sure, it exists somewhere, but no one's... I mean, do you know what I did this weekend? Did you... Like, there was a guy... I got lucky enough, just happened to be at the right place at the right time. I was not scheduled to be... How do I... Because I will go off on tangents, so I'm trying to stay into your question.
That's all right. It's your show, pal.
Well, I mean, the comedian that I worked with this weekend was one of the major guys who got canceled.
Yeah.
That's who I worked with, like for one show, because I had to be in Buffalo for the other ones, but I happened to be there. They needed someone to host real quick. I jumped on, and his hour was one of the hardest I've laughed in a long time. It was good, and he is free from at this point. Like, what are you going to take from him?
Yeah,
he lost it was a big opportunity, and now he's doing more with it, and
it was ironic.
And it was fun to. But I guess the thing is, if you went to see the show, or if you know anyone went to see the show. There are a lot of people there who were like expecting him to be like, hey man, is he gonna really, is he gonna say the N-word kind of? And they were mad because he's not a racist dude.
Oh yeah.
So it was all made up online.
Of course not.
So both sides were like, one side was saying, say whatever you want, dude, and the other side was like, he's a racist. And then everyone got there and they were like, he's not that at all. There are people who are like, is it not going to be offensive? Then the people on the, it's just good comedy, but he is not being held back by the idea anymore because you can't.
Yeah.
There's no limit to what he can say, so he's just doing what he wants. And what has come out is not really offensive or terrible or anything. It's just this is what it is. So watching that this weekend, it made me feel like I think the idea that there's rules on what you can say is gonna start going away. We're starting to see where it was bullshit, like everything you say is racial or racist, and we're going to cancel you, versus the freedom of speech. People are like, well, no one wants to hear your racist bullshit either. Both sides were acting like this big thing was existing, and what I kind of saw this weekend was it's all nonsense that's created online. In the comedy club, you're going to probably be able to say what you want, and the people that are there are going to show up, and they're going to either like it or not, and they're not going to go.
Right.
And the tickets are going to sell no matter what, and they're going to get a shot to come back out and do more.
Exactly.
I think that's gonna go away,
and that should ultimately be the determination of what works and what doesn't, who's had success, who doesn't. That's the natural order of things, right?
There's a meritocracy too, and there's also the natural order of I mean, that's how this business or the comedy business is supposed to work. So I don't think people are really going by the rules. I think that hack racist comedy bullshit doesn't make it because it's hack racist bullshit, and no one wants to really hear it. It's not good. Say what you will.
It's not funny.
It's not funny.
Yeah.
Right? And also, the same token, super woke, PC, whatever, is nothing but grandstanding bullshit clapter.
No doubt.
People are starting to be like, we don't care about this either. So what's going to happen is good comedy is going to stick and it will persevere. The jokes will work. And an original point of view with jokes will work. But they won't, original point of view with no jokes isn't going to go anywhere, and a point of view, whether it be left or right,
absolutely,
it's not going to
absolutely.
So it's and so I think that we made a big deal these last couple of years, people getting canceled, this and the other. That I think people are getting punched out on it. doesn't. I think it's going to stop mattering. People are now just going like, you can't shut up. You're not canceling me. Check out what you said that was stupid. And it goes back to what we were saying in the beginning. The next people who are coming after us are going to start to see that this overreaction or overcorrection of not real things. You know, we're overcorrecting, right? There's a lot of racist bullshit that exists in the world. And then we're starting to call everything that. And the people who are going to, 5 years down the road, are going to go, that wasn't what that was. Don't try to mix that up and then lump all this into one category.
Well, we go to extremes.
Yeah.
And it's also
the rubber band effect.
It's also laziness. That's lazy thinking.
And it's easy because the anonymity of the internet allows you to say whatever you want, and then it somehow carries weight when you don't deserve any weight to, you know.
How does that get fixed, or does it?
I think it's going to.
No, I mean, like the anonymity of the web. You think that's going to?
Oh, that's going to just exist. We could have verifications. You want a fax card for the internet?
That's pretty good. I don't.
People are going to realize that your anonymous bullshit, unwarranted opinion is just that. It's going to take time because we're in the
Hopefully, it won't be interesting anymore. That's what I'm hoping happens. Yeah. Like we still find. Obviously, you find it amusing, or like a fly to a flame, or moth to a flame, because we keep going to it. But at some point, it's not going to be interesting anymore, right?
No, I think that's what's going to happen, and that's what I think. I don't think there are rules anymore. I think we created that. I mean, there's certainly there have been consequences of people who have gotten in trouble, but I think that I've also seen a lot of if you do something shitty, then cancel the person. But the overreaching and trying to nail the gotcha moment is starting. Everyone's starting to be hip to it and go like, relax, loser. Like that's not.
I hope. I
think so.
It's just ridiculous to me. I mean, how dare we want to go back into the history of people and attack things they might have said as a teenager or a preteen.
Well, that's the one thing about the American society that we can't stand. And it goes back to the easiest, most analogy, or at least what I remember when it really made sense to me was steroids. Mm-hmm. If you look back, everybody knows in here they have flaws. And that's why we think religious people are. We don't like the guy who's on the pulpit explaining things because he's saying like, I'm pure, I'm pure, I'm pure, and everybody knows deep down that they have their demons, they've done things wrong. So we don't like when somebody looks you in the eye and goes, well, you may have your problems, but not me. We don't like that. Mm-hmm. It's a thing that's inherent in our nature. We all know that we have flaws. Right. And in steroids, everyone hates Barry Bonds because he went down going, never did steroids. Me? No, I'm just naturally the best. But then you have people like Andy Pettit, Mark McGuire later, all sorts of these people, Rafael Palmeiro, and then even lesser people who just were like, all right, I did it. And we're like, come on back, baby, we love you. We love a second chance. It's the people who look at you in the face and go, no, I'm better than you. No, you might have demons and you may have flaws. That's
all Bonds would have had it done years ago. Just admit it. Just admit it.
Yeah, dude.
He'd be in the Hall of Fame now.
And I love, and by the way, I want steroids in my sports. I want superhumans. I want dingers in the river every single time. I love it. I want superhumans playing my sports. But anyways, it's just, that's what it is. It's people who look you in the eye and say, I don't have that flaw like you do, because we all know that we have that inside. And so that's the issue that,
that's insecurity. People that do that, whether it's online or in person, that they're
don't admit mistakes.
That's
the best gift you ever give yourself is admitting when you're wrong so you can grow.
100%.
I think that's what
that has to be taught to you when you're young. Usually, it's hard to learn as an adult. You can, but it's harder.
It's the best thing that my one shitty stepdad taught me. It was like, I accept wrong all the time, probably to a fault, to where like I'm always looking out for where I did something wrong, where I should stick up for myself more. But it's the one thing that like keeps you aware of where your shortcomings are, what you got to work on, and it keeps you honest. It also makes me angry when someone says that they don't have those problems.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to me. Life gets funnier unless the angry old guy thing. I'm not finding growing older making me angry, Senneca. I just find things more funny now. Not that I'll laugh in people's faces. We want to sometimes, but it's just the irony of everything is just hysterical to me now. Things that might have pissed me off years ago, I was just kind of like...
What's an example?
Oh my God. It could be something as simple as, I cut off a guy yesterday and he pulls up next to me, and he's just mother effing me like you cannot believe. And then so my reaction.
It's one of the funniest things that happens to me. I die of laughter.
Yeah. So I find myself last couple of years when this happens, on occasion when it actually happens, when I fuck up, I'll just kind of smile and laugh. Say, sorry, man.
We're not dead, dude. It's okay.
Yeah, bro, we're good. But years prior, though, I would catch his anger and reciprocate that.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
That's dangerous because you guys are in a missile. You guys are in danger. The road is scary. I used to travel for a living. I'm a rule follower. I will say there's something about Pittsburgh that's very funny. Yeah. I mean, I drove all over this area. I drive a lot. Rule follower. I do things by the books. I believe that's the one crazy thing that we do every day is to get into a car and drive.
Well,
we
need order.
We need order, and there are rules because and we're just lucky that it takes one psycho to be like, I'm not following the rules today, and people are dying. And every day we get out on the road, and we're just like, I hope everyone follows the rules out there. So because I know you're following the rules, then if I do it this way, I know you should do this way, and then we get there safely.
Yeah, we anticipate here.
We're going very fast and heavy things. We're going to die out there. So I do, so I will say this about Pittsburgh. I drive all over the tri-state area.
Okay.
You guys are not bad drivers. Everybody thinks like the next town over is a bad driver. They're not bad drivers. Pittsburgh, especially considering how difficult it is to navigate through here.
You think?
Very crazy. You guys are very good drivers. However, you're very fast to be angry at people, and it's hysterical to me. I've never seen so many unwarranted beeps and middle fingers at people, and it's not like you got to relax. This is gonna happen, and I love it. I find it. I used to do this. I used to just give people a thumbs up whenever I fuck up, or if they were getting mad, I'm like, hey, calm down. Dude. No one likes to be told to calm down when you're pissed off. I do it constantly. People, I laugh so hard at it. Relax. I think one time I got into a fight, or I almost got into a road rage incident. This guy did something wrong, and he pulled over his car. And I was like, yeah. Get out of your fucking car then. I'll beat your ass in front of your kids and then I'll marry your wife. And he was like, what did you say to me? Guy was huge. He would have killed me. His wife came back, he got out of the car, he's coming after me. His wife grabbed like, it's not worth it. And I was like, it could be worth it, dude. It could be worth it. Give it a shot. Give it a shot, dude. And then he was like, fuck you. And it was in my small little town I grew up in. So funny. One of the most fun times I've ever had. I totally bought into it. It was his fault. Well, it was kind of both of our faults that we did it. He assumed something else and that he shouldn't have, but I still had my turning signal on. It was very funny though. Dude, try it out. I can give it a shot, dude. We don't know. That's the thing about fights, though. You don't know what somebody else is capable of. You got to be a real psycho to get out. You don't know that if someone has a gun. You crazy
especially
person.
Today.
Crazy. You want to get out like road rage? Yeah, it's good that you're laughing at it because you see road rage incident. You don't know who you're dealing with out there. People are insane.
Dude, I remember when I was a kid, right underneath the Swickley Bridge from Coriopolis to Swickley, the underramp was following these two, and they cut each other off, and they kind of stopped in the middle of the road. And I'm like slowing down, watching this, and this guy gets out his car, and he's got a batter instrument, and the other guy gets out, and I'm just watching this in front of my eyes.
Yeah, no, thanks,
and I'm
dude.
like, I don't want any parts of this.
I gotta get out of here.
I gotta leave.
I used to when I was little in high school. You always like to watch a fight. I got wrestled. I like fighting. I liked fighting, but I got older now. Anything like that, I'd be like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. Now I'm like, I don't like to see it. It freaks me out. I would be like, what if someone pulls out a gun, or what if someone breaks his face? I can't watch it. I'll leave.
There's too many unknowns now.
I think it's like old guy weirdness now. I'm just afraid of. I don't want to see people get hurt. Come like a pussy.
Well, I think we're quick to use implements. As a younger person, fighting was with our fists. It was rare as a kid you would hear someone grab a pipe or a bat, or you hear in school, he pulled out a knife. Everybody was getting beat up, and you're playing in the sand lot an hour later. But the gun thing, we're just quick to pull out an implement and cause damage.
Having a gun is also a scary thing. Gives you way too much confidence.
Well, no question.
I had a situation the other day. I was like, I shouldn't have a gun, dude. I don't fucking need this thing. I bought a gun for a bit too. I bought a gun because I was like, it's
for
comic.
A bit?
For a bit, for sure, for a bit.
Okay.
I mean, I'm also I thought, yeah, things were going crazy. I was like, I'll buy a gun. I'm from the woods. Most of the people I grew up like have guns. I'm not gonna be one who's like, guns are scary. Like, shut up. They're also very fun. That's the other thing about guns is they're a blast. Like, pun was not intended. Don't do that. That was not what they're fun. But it was. I bought one for a bit, and then I got a concealed carry because I was like, something fun will come out of this, and
Shoot
it was
my
like,
balls off.
and I was like, and I just wanted to I wanted to have something that could like kind of poke the bear, like poke everybody the bear a little bit, plus I got shoot some. So I was thinking that I was driving to my house and someone was following me, and I was like, dude, I got it. Where you? I got my dog. I was like, I could go get my gun. And I was like, what's going on in your brain, dude? This was never there. And it was like, I've never taken it anywhere with me, by the way. I've never taken it. It's like, I did it for a bit. You know what I mean? I got a good joke out of it. It exists now. I have it. But there was a moment where I was like, you better not be coming in here because we shouldn't have that stuff. It's scary.
Well, it is a funny thing to me that when you're so anti-gun rights and you're so public about it with they put yard signs, anti-gun, anti-NRA yard signs. Why would you put a sign in your fucking yard telling the world that you hate guns?
Dude, my friend was like,
what's the logic with that?
My friend's like, so you live in a nice neighborhood. Why would you need a gun? And I was like, because you don't rob people who don't have shit. What are you talking about, dude? It's a crazy thing. You know you should rob the people who don't have the gun in the house.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put I don't believe in gun rights sign in my front yard just so I can invite people in and hopefully enact the castle doctrine.
People do that though. They do. I mean, it's just nuts to me. Like,
no.
So identity. I don't know. They call it identity politics, but just the need for people to identify with groups or what they believe or what they don't like. It's never things they like. It's what they don't like. Why is that a thing? Like, just especially the last 4 or 5 years, not because of the election. That's an easy assumption. It's deeper than that. Why are we so willing to put like identities on a T-shirt, label it, pins, hats? Why do we have to show folks who we're with?
Because we've marketed our lives. Because we everything is marketed now, so it's just I don't know, because we're psychos. Right, so everyone wants to be a team. There's probably it's tribalism and nationalism, and now we just do it on a much smaller level, and we've been marketed to
so let me
identify.
give you the dichotomy. The dichotomy would be that, would you not agree that, and I found this out for 2 decades, marketing specialized, customized retail things.
Okay.
People love to feel special. They want to buy something unique, something cool, something that their neighbor doesn't have. They yearn that individuality. Most people do, I think, with their purchases, their clothing. They have that thing going on. They want that look at me moment, right? They want that.
I do stand-up comedy. I know that.
But at the same time, they're so quick to join a team. It's like that two sides of the brain to me. I don't see how they communicate.
Did you ever see punk rock kids when you were younger? They're like, I'm an individual. It's like, why do you look like all your friends?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, good point.
Why do you got
to belong?
Why do you look like you got like a punk rock starter kit? Like, what do you guys all have the same look to you? Because I didn't get along. Like, when we were younger, me and my bandmate, we played in bands together. We didn't look like all the punk rock kids, and I was like, it was like we liked the music, we liked the message and stuff, but we didn't look the part, and we played sports, or we did, so we weren't allowed to be part of the club. And I was like, for such individuals, what a weird way to do. I don't know why people do identity politics. You got to have something, because people don't read enough books, probably.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Who reads anymore?
I wish I did more. Probably on my goddamn phone too much. Is readership down? Are people not reading as much?
I think so. I think audiobooks are a big thing. Podcasts.
I used to read a lot. And I don't anymore. I was always reading.
I think we're being inundated. Well, I do think this. I do think that
I feel dumber too.
I bet you though, on one positive the web has caused, I bet child illiteracy has been knocked on its ass, because the devices have encouraged kids at a young age to learn to read, because everything you do on that phone is reading constantly. So maybe and there's some small way the web, or the introduction of the web to children in this particular generation, has probably been a positive in that. But it had to have killed literacy. It had to have.
Do you have anything to back this up, or are you just spitballing?
No, I'm just
Hell yeah, dude.
I'm throwing this out.
All right.
I mean,
We need to get someone in the studio who just checks this stuff. Why don't you?
Where's our Jamie at?
Jamie?
Rogan's got that Jamie guy.
Oh, Jamie. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a Jamie. I'm poor. I don't have an assistant here.
Dude, we got Major.
Intern for free. You know, my son wouldn't come on this show if his life depended on it. He thinks I'm nuts.
Dude, well, if you beat him up and forced him to. I mean, what choice does he have?
You haven't seen my son.
I heard he was 6'4".
Yeah, that's about right.
I heard he. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Identity politics stink. We all do it, kind of, and.
Is that what it is? Identity politics? I mean,
I don't know. Just the conversation.
Tribalism. Like, we just feel like I thought rooting for a team was the closest thing I'd ever come to wanting to, like, get together with people and, like, you know, cheer on a unified thing, right? But I don't give a fuck who you voted for.
Everybody, I
don't care what your stance on abortion is. It's not my business. I don't care.
Yeah.
So I don't care about that stuff.
It's the hi, I'm special generation. I mean, it's not generation. I think it's people who exist right now. Everyone's like a cause. That's why I hate Warhol. How about that? So that right here in Pittsburgh. What's up, guys? Nothing bothered me, and I liked it when I was younger because I like the idea of pop, and I like what that, but the bullshit of like everyone's gonna be famous for 15 minutes. That phrase or whatever exactly, that's not verbatim. It's such a shitty, like it's such an anti-intellectual garbage thing to say. And he was proud of that stuff. Like people are like, he's this great. No, he was like about marketing and pop, and it was cool that he did it, and he made you see the art and things that weren't always. I get all that, but the idea that everyone gets to be famous for 15 minutes is probably why we have this obsession with ourselves and with joint glomming on to other people is because we all are special. We're all special. And I'm special because I like this thing. I'm special because I associate with this. And then the next evolution of that.
That's not what makes you special. That's the thing. Kids
right.
don't get that.
You're absolutely right.
You joining other people doesn't make you special.
Yeah,
you're understanding
this is a specific
your
thing.
Individuality.
Sure.
That would make you unique and special.
Because everyone's a celebrity. Every celebrity and everything I do is cool.
I mean, you're not an influencer for a protein drink? Is that not your bag?
No.
On social media?
Dude, I've gotten so fat. Eric, you don't know how fat I've been putting on weight, and I haven't really done a lot to stop either. I have lost a lot of weight recently, but like I'm not working that hard at it. I found out that I had high cholesterol the other day. That was a bummer. And instead, they're like, "You gotta stop eating like this," and I was like, "Maybe I'll start exercising more." I gained 40 pounds.
Through COVID, you gained 40.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
40 pounds.
The COVID 40.
40 pounds. Right around my waist. I only gained around my waist. It was like when I was bent over, like I feel like the fat was jamming in my lungs. I couldn't breathe. It was pretty intense, dude. And I was like aware of it. I was like, I'm getting fat. I don't give a shit. I used to be in great shape, like half marathons for fun.
No shit.
I used to work out 2 times a day. I mean, I was a psycho. I loved it. And that's what I was saying. The Rock's addicted to it because I just was addicted to for years, maybe for like a decade, better part of a decade. I was doing.
Oh, I get everything. The endorphins. I get all that, but I mean, he's that's his extreme. I mean, he has to.
But no, I'm not an influencer. I got fat. I don't do a lot on the internet. I get told I don't do enough on the internet.
In terms of what, marketing yourself?
Yeah, because like people believe they're gonna be famous, and I'm like, I do.
Where did that delusion come from?
Because everyone's special. But you know how you said, and it goes back to the punk rock thing. What you said about this podcast is that I only do things, and if something cool happens, then it fucking happens, and that's it. That's the way I look at comedy. That's the way I looked at music when I was younger, when I played in a band. And it's the way you're doing this thing. Like, hey, if something cool comes out of it, it does. But I'm doing this because I like to do it. So when it comes
until it isn't fun anymore.
And then if it starts feeling sad and weird, then I'm done. And that's why I don't do like, because you're gonna make it. You're gonna be big, and you make it now by using social media. So many people have used that to catapult their career, and I don't care about it. So I'm not gonna do it because I'm not worried about being famous. You're not gonna get famous here in Pittsburgh. And so I'm like, then I don't need to really hammer home my social media. No one needs to know what the fuck I do when I do it. I just be like, I gotta do it so I post some shows so it looks like I still exist. I post pictures of my dogs, sometimes some sandwiches, and then when I have shows, and that's like the extent of it. That's all I do.
I enjoy social media, the connectivity of it all, and the humor. I don't I could care less who you're voting for, who's pissed off about a bike lane, who's pissed off about. I mean, it isn't that there aren't great causes out there. They're just not my causes, and I'm kind of fucking indifferent in most things. So that's okay. I mean, but it is what it is. I just don't want to join up in your crusade for this or that. Make any sense? I don't care.
You sound like you're a crusader for not giving a shit.
I love the word indifference.
Yeah.
I know it's a broad word, but I just
I like to be thought of as a dude who doesn't have an opinion.
Yeah, but I have plenty. I just don't think I want to share it with somebody.
Yeah, I know damn well.
I'll listen to your opinion though.
Yeah,
I love hearing it. If I'm, I don't want to listen to everybody's opinion, but I'm okay on the conversational to find out where people are coming from for sure. But the masses, it's like the election's a joke to me. Like so. The idea of a political election is pretty simple. If more people feel a certain way about one person as opposed to another person, then the person that's more popular wins. We run our life that way.
Yeah.
But we don't, in a way, because we're also very sensitive to minority groups of people not being Belental, or not getting bludgeoned to death by the majority. So it's funny, we rule by majority in terms of our representative democracy, but we really don't. It isn't like Rome, where it's like, you raise your hand, it's yay or nay, and then kill them. I mean, it's the majority. We're not tribal that way.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really interesting. You shouldn't think about it.
Not very much of a representative democracy as we think. Is
no,
that what you're
it's
telling
not.
Me?
Well,
you're telling me this isn't.
Well, it isn't a pure democracy, that's for sure.
Oh, well, no, but that hasn't been for so long. We just tell ourselves that.
Yeah.
I just salute the flag, say you're my president. They're all my presidents, every one of them.
Yeah, I'm a patriot as the next person. I just want to be nice to people. Just be kind to people. You respect the fact that you probably aren't going to dig most of the things people do. But just let them do it. As long as they're not hurting anybody.
Sure.
What difference does it make?
That's
a pretty easy way of maneuvering life, right? I should have figured this out 30 years ago. It would have been made much better.
Not just, we're at end times, dude. It's the end of it.
You think?
Yeah, for sure.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if we're at end times. I 100% believe that.
In this generation, or how many more generations?
Oh, I don't know. God, I'm not a smart man. To even posit how many generations till is it? Well, I would say that we're not the number. I think that we are in our twilight as the preeminent.
And then it'll reset.
Yeah, I think China's gonna have a good time coming up. I saw that they were pumping up nuclear weapons, and I was like, there you go. That's what the big dog does, dude. You come in, you say, I get nukes, you don't. And that's what the big guy does. So when I saw that, I go, oh, they're finally just going like, no, we will take wrest power from, because it used to be like can we not talk import export?
It's kind of funny though. It's kind of funny though.
It's fucking hysterical. Yeah, it's I don't know if we're in end times. I think that it's all very ugly, and I would like to just try to get to make enough money where I can disappear and everyone can go away. Would be nice for me.
It depends on what. Okay, so take a step back from the conversation and look at it this way for just a moment. Humor me. Like if there's an earthquake in California and you're in space looking at it, you don't see much.
Right.
Where I'm going with this is, and there's a point, when you remove yourself from the internet, which we call this internet connectivity, and how it interacts with us even sitting here, us going to the market or whatever,
sure.
That's the reality we've created for ourselves.
Yeah, I don't believe the internet's that real either, if that's where you're going with it.
That's kind of where I'm going with it.
Yeah.
So when I
don't think that shit is real.
When I step back from it, if you look on a broader picture of how we're all maneuvering every day, going about our business, going to the shows, hanging out with our kids or our friends or whatever, if you look at it on a big picture, most people are probably getting along, not killing each other.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, everything's sensationalized.
But we really go deep down and get into the emotional part of it unnecessarily at times. We're wearing the pain of everyone else.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe too much.
Yeah, maybe I was being a bit hyperbolic saying we're in end times.
We might be.
No, I mean, listen.
And I went off the tangent about being. I'm just saying, if you look at the Earth doing a tragedy and you're far away enough from it,
You
It
don't see
really
the
isn't.
tragedy.
You don't see a tragedy.
Yeah.
That's not good either, I guess, sometimes. But
Yes, that
well, I'm just saying. I mean, would you have known that a catastrophe is happening if you're that far away?
if a tree falls in the woods. No.
Maybe that's a good analogy. But that reality that I'm referring to is the reality that is the web and the web's interconnectivity with us moving around every day. Is that the reality?
No, it's not.
I don't think it is.
No,
either.
I think it's all bullshit. No, I don't. I don't think we hate each other as much. I don't think that we.
That's my point.
I don't think that we're really. It's not as problematic as it is. Everything's serving some purpose to somebody, and we're ingesting. It goes back to what we were saying in the beginning. We're ingesting media in a very new way. And I just think that we don't know how to understand it yet. And hoping the next people will be like, hey, you were doing that. You were listening to that a little bit wrong because you were starting to take on what you're kind of saying, taking a lot of frustration and pain because you were getting marketed frustration and pain. But if you just log off the internet, you look around, not everybody's trying to kill everybody all the time. It's not as bad as you think it is. And Senneca,
brother.
It's not the end times. But for the purposes of being funny and having a good time with it, I'll talk about it as if the end of the world's happening tomorrow just for years. I'll do anything for a fucking joke, Eric. I don't care. Like, we're being very deep here at times, but
it's good, though.
I mean,
this is good.
I will be saying some things that I don't mean here, I promise. I probably already said a few that I'm full of shit on just for fun. I know I've made up a couple of facts in my mind already. I'm winging it. We're just gonna,
but it sounds so good. When you say it with authority.
That's because it sounds good to us because we're egomaniacs who like the sound of our voice.
Is that it?
You have a radio show and I do stand-up comedy. Yes, we love the sound of our voice.
Right.
Yeah, I'm ready to admit that there's a
level of vanity involved with it.
Oh, I need attention real bad, Eric. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I never wanted to admit that, but there has to be a component to doing a podcast.
I'm over acting like I don't have problems or that I'm not a goofball. I mean, listen, it's a very real thing. I have I talk too much. I need attention. I can probably, and my therapist that I don't go to anymore could probably, it's not hard to figure out why I act the way I do. And what comes out, there's all this mess. What comes out this side is I really love attention.
Right on.
And my favorite way to get attention is through joking around, and so I do this stuff. So,
why do comedians become comedians? What's the
broken? They're broken and they're weird.
They all say the same thing.
I mean,
broken comes up a lot.
Well, they're broken.
In what way?
To different. It depends. I think they are, but I mean, there's also people who are that are more healed than. Talking about, I think there's something weird about you wanting to get up on stage. My grandmother also said to me when I was younger, one of my grandmothers, like a step grandma, she liked to do local theater, and she's like, listen, Senneca, here's the thing. If you get up on stage, it's because you have an ego. And she was saying this as like a 70-year-old woman who knew herself. She's like, listen, I get up there because I like the attention on me, And so she knew I like the attention on me. I think it's just me personally. I can't speak for other people while they're broken. I know I'm broken because I grew up in a dysfunctional family with a lot of siblings, and I was searching for acceptance and love in a lot of different ways. And I found the first and immediate way that I knew that I was predisposed to getting attention, or I was better at it than other people, was I was goofy or made jokes. That's it. That's the whole breakdown. I mean, I know that's how I'm broken in a way. It's not. I mean, mom has been married and divorced a lot of times. A lot of different stepdads. I have a lot of siblings. I grew up very poor and in a rural community, away from a lot of things. Not hard to figure out why. I went, hey, I'm special too. I felt that I had something. And I wasn't being recognized for it for whatever it was. I wanted to say, I have something. I have something too. Maybe I don't have the money that you need to have to get people's attention. Maybe I don't have the good family that's going to put me here. I don't have the wherewithal. you're not going to see me. I'm not from a city. So I was constantly just being like, no, I'm worth it.
Right.
And comedy has just become a professional version for me of validating myself. Comedy every single second or every 10 seconds for me, depending on how you do comedy, it's a validation. Okay. If you're doing it.
Okay.
There's science, how many times you make people laugh and and you're doing. I need to know that you guys like me every 15 seconds. Every 15 seconds, and if I don't get every 15 seconds, I'm like, you guys don't like me? What's going on? And that's what I internalize that, and it's tough. That's bombing. So I'm broken that I need that. Other comedians, to your bigger question, I don't know. I think it's similar.
Okay.
I think it's similar, wanting to be liked.
First show. Do you remember it?
First show or first open mic?
Okay. How about first open mic first?
First open mic. Yeah, I remember it. Yep. What about it?
What about it? Do you remember? Were you scared?
I know that, and I always wanted to do stand-up comedy, but I didn't live in the city.
Okay.
My friend was like, you're funny, do this open mic. It was in Buffalo, New York, a place called Milky's. Doesn't matter. And I got up on stage and I had a couple of jokes. One joke that I still use to this day, that's in a very different version. Remember the jokes I did? I got a couple of laughs. I was also doing the joke is very good from a written standpoint, but the perspective was very bad. It's just like, when you're new, you just say bad jokes. They're just... people don't understand. A lot of new comics... And I'll make this quick.
That's all right.
New comics don't understand that a joke is a surprise to somebody, ultimately what it is.
Okay.
You set things up. It's like a magic trick. I didn't know that was there, but it was. But you do it with words. That's what it is. So it's something that is out of place. And what often happens with new comics is they say taboo or extreme things because it's out of place in normal discourse. And they confuse the idea that saying something fucked up is not a part of discourse, because it kind of sounds, if you listen, it sounds like it's a surprise, but it's not a joke surprise.
Okay.
All you're doing is saying something that should not be said, and you're like, isn't that a punchline? No, you're just not good enough or understanding enough that that's not a punchline.
I understand.
So I was doing things that did have a punchline, but I was saying things that are very dark and unnecessary. Because I was like, oh, isn't that crazy? I shouldn't be saying this. And it's truly, it's a mark, and I mean this, it's a mark of a truly, not a new comic.
An amateur.
Right.
It's
and every comic, I do it. Every comic that comes out, there's like, I say it like it is. It's like, no, you're bad at this. Is the truth. You don't. And every comic loves themselves so much. It's the ego, and they come out and they think they know everything.
Right.
They want attention immediately. They want all the showtime immediately, and you don't deserve it because you're not good. Everybody, every professional comic right now is like, I sucked for years.
Yeah.
But then you meet every open mic comic's like, I should be headlining a year in. It's like, you won't know how truly bad you are. Because first off, most open mics, 90% of them quit within a year or 2 years when they realize that it wears off.
Yeah.
They're actually not going to be famous. They're not special. And they're like, this isn't fun anymore.
Right.
But most comics that make it past that, if you make it to year 3, 4, it's so embarrassing to look back at what you did. So I remember my first mic. One joke in some iteration still exists, and it's one of the more, and I don't like doing it. It's a good joke now, but it's like, it's ugly. It's not who I really am.
Okay.
So I remember that, and I was hooked, and then I did that forever. So that's my, yes, I remember exactly what it was. I remember who I was with. It went okay.
All right.
That was it.
Your first real gig.
First real gig is a good story. Well, first, I can trace everything back. Do you want the first club gig or the first? They all mean different things.
How about both?
Okay, I can tell you the first time that I got. First time I got paid, right? First time I got paid.
That's a gig.
Well, I know. All right, here's it. The first thing that I did was I did a show in Buffalo at a place called Nietzsche's.
Okay.
The oldest running mic, and this one guy, and I did a set. I did one joke, and this guy who ran something at the club, who ran a show. He didn't work. He was a host for a show, and he booked the people. He was like, "That was a good joke, and would you like to do the club?" And so I did that club, and I did well in there, and then I got my first gig from that first show that I ever did. That was it.
Okay.
And then the first show I did, and this is a good story because it's a bomb story. The first club gig that I did, and it was very lucky. The club in Buffalo is Helium Comedy Club. It's a national chain. It's an A-level club. Mm-hmm. It's a great club. And their whole chain, their management, I love them. No, I don't know if anyone's going to listen to it. They've given me more opportunities. I mean, I was there this weekend.
Right.
I was working for them.
Right.
run a good ship, and they saw me off that show that I got booked on from that one smaller one, and 10 months into comedy, they gave me a shot in the clubs. Not a normal thing. It's very fast. I wasn't good enough for it, but I think they saw that I cared a lot. I was driving from Pittsburgh. I was living in Pittsburgh, and for 9 months straight, I drove every single week to Buffalo to sleep on my friend's couch to do the club's open mic.
Got it.
And another that Milky's open mic that I said.
Got it.
I slept on a couch, and I lost money, and I went back and forth every single week to do that. And people were like, "How did you get into the clubs?" I was like, "Because I traveled 8 hours every single week and slept on a couch to do free open mic time and bomb in Buffalo, New York." But so they saw that, the club manager saw that, and he gave me my first weekend, which is like, that's you start out, you host, then you feature, then you headline.
Yep.
You probably do lower clubs, and you want to get into the better clubs. This is a good club. And they gave me 10 months in an opportunity to open up for a guy named Tony Hinchcliffe. Recently of cancel fame, or whatever the hell we're calling it. He made some.
He's been on Rogan a bunch of times too, I think.
Yeah, and he's been in the news for a whole other story that is I don't even care to get involved in or to speak up. But he was just coming up. He was on Rogan. People knew him from Rogan and from Roast Battle, and good comedian. And I was very new, and this is the story. This is like my best bomb, like one of the best bombs I've had. I'm 10 months in. I don't deserve to be there, but they gave me the opportunity because they said, it looks like he's trying hard. He's coming up here every week. He's trying. It's cute. My cousin is an NFL linebacker.
Okay.
He works here. He plays for Washington. He's starting. His rookie year was also Devin Bush's rookie year. Oh, right on. Sorry, Pittsburgh. He had more solo tackles than Devin Bush. His name is Cole Holcomb.
Okay.
Very good. Very good. And my if any of my family watches, they're gonna be so pissed about this story. So my dad, it's not like I have a great relationship with my father. I first have to preface it with this, right? And I shouldn't be telling the story. So my first real club hosting gig, the week before that, my cousin's playing like in his senior bowl game or something at UNC, and my dad gets in. And my dad did not grow up with my father. Not a strange, like he lived out of state. Wasn't there. It wasn't a weekend dad. It wasn't even like a more like you. It wasn't like that. It was like see him maybe on a holiday kind of thing, and maybe once for the summer kind of. That's it. So we have a great relationship now. He basically flies the whole family down to see like senior day for my cousin. Okay. Right. The next weekend is my first opportunity at an A-level club hosting. Okay. Very big for me. I always wanted to do comedy. I finally got the opportunity. I'm getting this opportunity. And this is a big deal to me. All right. Right. And I call up my dad and I'm like, hey, can I come? This is a big deal to me. You know, everyone knows that I'm obsessed with comedy at this point. That's all I do. And he's like, yeah, I don't know, man. We all just went down to Cole's game last week, and I got to go down the river and do some mowing and stuff. I just don't think I got enough time. And I was like, you're a cunt. Like, you know that? Wow. I get because he's going to be an NFL star and you're a glory boy. Like, and you're like, look at and I'm just doing this little thing. But like, so you are going to get the whole family, fly them down because this is a much bigger deal to people outside of the family. To you guys, this means a lot because this looks good. Our future NFL linebackers, I'm related to him. But when your son is doing something that means a lot to him, that's doesn't involve moving the whole family, that's 2.5 hour drive or 3 hour drive, like, you got to mow the lawn, eat shit and die, dude, forever. Like, fuck you. Like, I give you enough liberties in my life. It was that kind of thing. So we get into a blow up. And again, I can't reiterate that. My dad and I have a great relationship now. We really do. I make a lot of jokes about him at his expense. I run them by him. People love the jokes. So I go, it's my first show. I walk out on stage and he's like, I'm going to come. I was like, no, you're not coming. Don't you dare fucking come. All right. So I come out on stage, and first time ever being to like and this is like a big, it seats probably like 250, 275. Right on. First time, new comic, hosting, never done it before. And I go out on stage, front row, right in front of me, sitting by himself, looking like he's been crying the whole drive there. couldn't concentrate at all.
Oh,
I go out there, I start doing the jokes. I'm doing all right for like the first 6 minutes, but the whole time, like, I can't believe he sat right here. What is he? I can't believe that he's sitting right there and doing this. And I do the one joke that I was telling you that I did originally that's like not, it's a good joke, but it's a bad joke.
Got it.
And it's certainly bad for a host to do it. And I go into that joke and the fucking needle rips off and people are like, whoa, not appropriate, dude. And deservedly so. It's not a host joke. And my dad was there and I just bombed crickets for 4 straight minutes. Just because you only do 10 minutes. And it was painful. And it taught me a lot of lessons. 1,
okay,
don't be an edgelord idiot. 2, you got a lot of work, you're not that good. And 3, tell your family to sit in the back. Don't sit in the front, especially after you got into a fight because you're feeling like you're not loved enough. You know what I mean? So that was my first.
Front row.
Front row, and my family all knows. Like, don't sit in the front. They all know if they come to a show, which I don't. I'm like, don't come if you don't want to.
Well, front row's for hecklers, right?
Well, people don't heckle.
Talk about that, hecklers. You never had to deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
How do you deal with hecklers?
Do
you enjoy it?
No one enjoys it. It's not an enjoyable thing.
That's the ones that say that they enjoy it is a misnomer.
For sure. They're so full of shit.
Okay.
Who said they liked it?
Okay.
Matt Light would say he liked it. Matt probably does because his whole thing is based on like shitting on the audience stuff. So he probably has 20 to 30 jokes for everything that I'm going to say. So it's probably like fun for him because they'll say something. He's good at that stuff.
Okay.
So is he one of the ones who said it?
Yeah.
For sure he did. Come on. He likes it because that's his whole style. I think most comics think it's a bullshit thing. You work in writing. There's beats to what you're doing. It's not funny. Stand-up comedy is a lot closer to theater dorkism than it's writing.
Right.
And it's performing.
And it's timed and everything.
It's timed. So if you do
choreographed to a degree, right?
Absolutely choreographed.
Right.
We're doing a magic act. It's all it is. It's a word magic act. And so every little beat and everything matters. So anything... What's almost worse is sometimes hecklers are being positive, but it can throw you off. People don't usually yell out and try to be a part of the show unless you're doing VFWs. If you're at a club... That's where they do. VFW halls and like the rural shows, you'll get hecklers because they're like, it makes the show fun. And that's what they do. And it doesn't. You put them out of the way. But clubs, they don't put up with that shit. They'll kick you out.
Yeah.
You start doing that, get out of here. I mean, my worst heckler sometimes is just my friend who gets too drunk at the shows. He's been heckling me the most. He's my very best friend. I'm like, he knows the rules.
How do you dismiss him during the show?
Oh, I mean, I was like, he doesn't do anything that's that good. So it's not really hard because everyone's like on your side.
Yeah.
So if a heckler says something mean or shitty, like you just take a beat and then like you don't attack them in a mean way right away. They're going to be on your side because they know that comedy club people are now smart fans.
Got it.
If someone yells out, they know that it's a heckle situation,
right, and
they're immediately on my side for the most part. As long as I don't give them a reason to like the other guy more. You fucking idiot, shut the fuck. That they'll be like, oh wait, that's not it. But if you're just like, oh, that's hurtful, like I'll just like, that's hurtful. What'd you say? And normally, if they keep going, I'll like ask them something, and if they're heckling enough, they're usually gonna say something that's just not exactly what I asked, and I'll just be like, that's not even close to the question, dipshit, and then everyone likes it, and then it usually goes away. I ignore people when they first try. I'll talk over top. I have a microphone. Talk to them, but it doesn't happen near as much as people outside of comedy think.
Do you do intentional crowd work? Like, do you analyze the first row there, and do you engage them at all?
Well, it depends on what you're doing. If you're a host, you shouldn't. It's not what you should. It's not. It's
understood.
Okay, it's real. The crowd work is for headliners. Even feature acts don't really do it in clubs because it's the right that you've earned by being the headliner. Because crowd work, if you're really, really good at crowd work, and you're good, crowd work in general is looked down upon. It's easy because to make somebody laugh and to get a crowd on your side, people need context to understand you. They need to feel like they're a part of it. It's part of the magic act. You think there's a conversation happening between us.
Okay.
So now you're invested. And when I say this thing that surprises you, like, you're all the way in. Crowd work is you're all the way in. They feel like they're right a part of it. They feel like you're getting something organic. A lot of crowd work people will write, like, fake and organic moment to say the joke they've said 100 times.
Okay.
So a lot of times there are great crowd work people, and people who are good at crowd work are good at it. It's not knocking people who do it. The general perception is it's cheating, it's fake. You get bigger pops from crowd work because everyone feels like they're in the moment. You're doing something with them. It's hard to go from crowd work into written material because it starts to sound a little bit more rehearsed. And so it fades. That's why people fall into like doing crowd work, because you're like, this is great. And then because the pops are harder and better. I will look at the crowd in front. I will notice what's going on in the area, and I will make a couple of jokes in my mind or a couple of things. And if it works out, then I do. As far as intentional crowd work, I sometimes will ask a question that just leads into a bit. So that way it sounds like I'm they got me on some stuff, but it's all planned. And usually if I ask somebody in the front row a question, I will ask one of 5 questions. They're going to go one of 3 ways, and I have something to say about each one of them.
Okay.
And it's still kind of planned. I'm not a straight crowd work guy. There are people who do that, will engage, and they're very funny. I like to play poker, not roulette, because I know what hands I have. I'm not just going to play the slots.
That's the smart way.
I'm not going to play. I'm a big pussy. I don't take a lot of chances. People who play on chance, and hopefully I win. It's like I want to stack the deck. If I can stack the deck,
of course,
I do it. So I try to stay in that lane. So no,
are there any comedians in your sphere, or any national comedians that literally are so good that they're spontaneous from night to night with no? I mean, was Robin Williams able just to get up and just go for 90 minutes?
No, because he used other people's bits, and then by the end of his career, he started writing checks for all the stuff he stole from people.
I didn't know anything about that. Is that true?
100%. He felt really bad about it.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, because he was all stream of consciousness, right? Stream of thought, and a lot of it was him being natural. But I don't know how prevalent it was. I'm not a Robert Williams fan.
Obviously not.
I don't know.
Okay.
No, I didn't say anything. I didn't say I didn't like him. I just said these are the facts.
No, yeah, I had no reason to doubt you. I just didn't know that.
Apparently, he did a lot of stuff that when he would just be stream of thought that would just come out and that happens to be very similar to a bit over here. And later on in life, God rest his soul, because he tortured guy, which sucks. And truly, he was a genius in what he did. I mean,
his delivery
and his buying into what he was doing was insane. You could follow where his brain was going. That's not easy to do. You're like, I get why he's doing it, but it seems crazy. But when you really look at it, you're like, it's not crazy. I know exactly why he went to this. And you could follow his brain and what he was doing.
Okay.
And you could laugh at it. But yeah, at the end of his career, he was writing checks to some people.
Huh. I wonder if that played into his depression, maybe.
Nah, I think you just always have it kind of. You're always saddled with it to some degree.
Well, at least he fessed up, and did anyone call him out? I mean, I know Rogan got in that big entanglement with Mencia, right?
Yeah.
That was, I don't know a lot about that outside of Rogan just accused him of stealing jokes, and
sure,
but that kind of killed Mencia's career, didn't it?
Maybe. He still tours.
Does he?
Yeah, still tours, sells places out.
Okay.
I don't. Never meant to see a guy, so I don't know, but I know he still tours and does stuff, makes money.
Okay.
I don't think that Robin Williams, he was well liked. I mean, I don't think that contributed. I have no goodness to be honest.
Does anyone that you know can just
there's a few people
wing it?
There's no one completely wings it. Nobody.
Chappelle, no one.
No, they're all writers. Everyone's a writer deep down to do it. I think there's some people who, there's a guy named Todd Barry who does tours where he does full things. There's a guy named Big J Okerson who does crowd work albums. Those guys both do crowd work. Fuck, amazing. I mean, these guys are top of the top. Big J Okerson is one of my favorites. He has a crowd work album where he's just so naturally funny in conversation. It's better than anything I write.
Okay.
Todd Barry did that. There's a comic I worked with named Adam Ray, who I think he's coming out when he does a lot of crowd work stuff. And the ability to ask somebody a question and pull that thread and get so much out of it. Those guys, and then a guy named Ian Bagg.
Okay.
Those are off the top of my head 4 people who do it. Now all those guys also 100% have albums where they write stuff. And
right.
I don't mean it's telling them magic tricks, but they know kind of. We're not as original as we think as people. Crowds not as original as people. You're gonna say similar things, and smart, funny people who've been doing it forever can intuit what's gonna happen there and know what's funny. And people in the crowd are not used to having the cameras on them, so they fuck up a lot when you say stuff. And you just say awkward things. That's what I try to take advantage of. If they're gonna say something stupid, you ask them enough questions, they're gonna trip up.
Okay.
All of a sudden, it's you, and I have spent this time being able to speak in front of people.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I turn it on you, who has 400 people around you, and I start asking you a couple questions, and all of a sudden you start to realize, oh, everyone's listening to me. I'm not used to this. You'll slip up. You'll say something dumb, or you don't have any time to think about it.
Right.
You hammer them. But those 4 guys that are they're doing more than that.
Who of the elder comics, let's say from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, do you listen to, or do you listen to any of them? Who do you admire?
Who do I admire from the 60s, 70s, and 80s?
Go back to Lenny Bruce was probably the start of that was the 50s, I think, right?
If I'm honest, like everybody will come up here and be like, Lenny Bruce, dude, Carlin, Pryor, this. I like all of those guys in that they influence people that I like.
Got it.
So I never, if I'm being honest, even like with music, I don't go too far back. I like people who've been influenced by these people.
Right.
It's like, and I'm sure that it's great. I don't go crazy for it. I mean, I think I've listened to. It's also hard because things don't age great all the time. Like
true.
You see, and not like from a like you can't talk about this. Just like styles of comedy change and what makes people laugh as a people. We don't laugh as easily. Okay. So I'd say, obviously Carlin or Pryor influenced Chappelle, and Chappelle I've always loved.
Yeah.
And is like my favorite. You know what I mean? And there's people from like. That obviously everyone likes Carlin, and politically, and I loved Bill Hicks. He's probably like the oldest I go back to. I loved Bill Hicks when I was younger because I was just like politically charged guy.
So Pryor didn't do it for you really then?
No, Pryor. No, I like it. I appreciate it all. I think it's amazing.
Red Fox maybe.
Red Fox is fun.
Cosby.
Party albums.
Bill Cosby stuff at all?
Never listened to any Bill Cosby stuff. I didn't like clean comedy. It just wasn't. But now I look back as a comedian, like now I watch it like I never liked Seinfeld, and now I watch Seinfeld stuff. I'm like, oh wow, Seinfeld's awesome. But it just wasn't. If it wasn't right in front of me, I didn't listen to it.
See, it's funny you said that about Seinfeld. Are you talking about Seinfeld stand-up stuff or the show?
Both.
Because the show often doesn't age well. Like I've seen it maybe so many times that now when I go back and see it, it doesn't carry the same laughs.
I think it's great now.
Really?
I just never watched it. It's just
okay. That might be the reason.
So like the writing, but I also like watched the Golden Girls and love that. That's quality writing, dude. Have you watched the Golden Girls?
I think I had to watch that when I stayed at my grandmother's house in the early '80s. I think
it's genius writing. The writing is genius. It's some of the best setup, punchline, jokes, and the writers
Rue
on it.
McClanahan.
All they do is call her a whore and a slut the whole time. It's hysterical. They do it, and the jokes are done well. Seinfeld's jokes are done well, I find in it.
Larry David was a genius.
Larry David's great. So the old guys, those are the I'm just not like that. I like the stuff that I have right now.
Eddie Murphy.
Never listened to it, but I mean,
wow.
How many people has he influenced it? Yeah, everybody. I mean, he's one of the greatest, right?
Yeah. He really bridged it to the movies very successfully.
Yeah.
Not all of them can do that.
I'm trying to think of
John Candy.
Richard Jeni was great.
I remember him. Is he still around?
Oh no, he killed himself a long time ago. Yeah,
I'm getting him confused with oh man, what's the other one? I get him in this other. That's right, Jenny did. Okay.
I got like comedy from like I like to watch. I had a stepdad who watched stand up on like Comedy Central religiously.
Yeah.
And I just like that. And that's what was right there. And then whenever as I got older, I didn't.
There was a time when Rosie O'Donnell was actually a funny stand up comedian.
Sure.
In the beginning.
Have you ever watched not Rosie? I don't mean it. You watched Roseanne lately?
Roxanne. What's her name?
Roseanne Barr.
Roseanne Barr. Yeah.
I watched like recently.
Is she good?
Roseanne Barr was great.
But she was in the beginning.
Her TV show is one of the best things I've ever watched. I love it.
You think?
Yeah. Oh, here's why I think so.
Okay.
Because I can't stand it was a sitcom, where she was talking about working class poor people in their lives, and that's not happening all the time.
No.
Like, you think about Modern Family right now, which is a good show, but how modern is it that everyone's wealthy? Like,
It's not real.
They're like, oh, it's modern because we have a gay couple and we have an old guy with a new wife. It's very modern. It's like modern, like pat yourself on the back because you guys have a gay couple. There's been gay couples before, and also everyone's loaded.
They all have money, yeah. They all have money.
It's loaded. That's not Modern Family. And coming from a poor place, or like a upbringing, I appreciate seeing that.
Yeah.
And she was and the jokes are good. I mean, things have changed in comedy. I didn't do. As I go further along, I start liking older and older stuff and starting to see that, oh, that's why I like this. Oh, that's why this person is this way. I start to see where those 60s, 70s, 80s laid the groundwork. So I'm kind of just, if you have me back in 2 years, I'll be like, you know who I like now? And I will have found my way back to the genesis.
I get it.
Of what I like.
Did you, what was your thoughts of King of the Hill?
I liked it. I thought of King of the Hill exactly like I thought of barbecue sauce. And I swear to God, this is true. Two things. This is true. There's two things in my life that I didn't like, and I tried to like it to see if by force feeding it to me, and then maybe I'll like it on the other side. Okay. And it was King of the Hill and barbecue sauce.
Okay.
I managed to like barbecue sauce.
Never managed to like King of the Hill, huh?
Never made it.
Man, I think that's some funny shit. There's a couple characters in there. The
Boomhauer.
Yeah,
that's about.
But the father of Hank Hill, that Cotton Hill, he's got he's had his shins blown off the war, and just I think that element, and that's a bit piece. I don't think that character's on every show, but that made it worthwhile for me.
I'll probably go back. Like I said, I'm slowly working. I'm a very ADHD, narrow.
Yeah. Well, animation's a whole different ball game, right? I mean, like Beavis and Butthead did nothing for me. I had to force myself to watch that because everybody was watching it in the 90s. And I'm like, what is this? This is not funny.
Yeah,
I didn't get it.
I think I was slightly too young for it. I think I was a little bit older than me. Liked it.
Some people would lose their minds watching that. I'm just like, I don't get. Maybe I have to be stoned to watch this. I don't know.
That's all Mike Judge. And Mike Judge went on to do like great things.
He did King of the Hill.
And Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah. And what else?
What's he do right now? He did Idiocracy, which everyone quotes around.
Yeah.
He's got the great one right now.
Who was Futurama? Was there some kind of like...
That's Groening and the Simpsons guys.
Okay.
What is he doing right now? Mike Judge has like one of the best shows, and I'm right this minute, and I can't think of what it is. And why am I just looked at it up in Google Maps. Where's Jamie? Is that the guy's name? Jamie? Yeah. Mike Judge. He did Silicon Valley on HBO.
Okay.
Which is great. King of the Hill, Beavis and Butthead, Idiocracy, Silicon Valley. I've said them all now, it looks like, because I'm an idiot. What's the other one he just started doing? It doesn't matter. This is great for people who are at home. Office Space he did.
Oh, that's right. That's a great movie.
Yeah, but he's great. But I don't know. Those are people that like.
I'm trying to think. I can't speak. Pop culture in general. Is it as funny now as it was a decade or two ago? Is this shit still funny? I mean, Chappelle's funny. I mean, but beyond Chappelle, in terms of stand-up right now, it's like, do you find Jeselnik funny? Do you find is the quality of stand-up
better
on
than
the
national?
Ben. Is it really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just I think that stand-up right now, everything gets better and better. I mean,
logically, you would believe so.
It's hard. It's so much harder to be. There are people that you don't know that are writing jokes right now that are better than people that had TV spots. It's so much harder to become a comic now because there's so much competition and there's so much demanded of your writing. Right. There's so much that has been done before that you have to be original to cut through right now. It's if you go back and watch, and I've done this very recently, and watch, these people are all way better than me. It's all prefaces. I'm a open mic dipshit in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. These are just opinions between me and you.
Right.
I'm a nothing. And I mean that sincerely. If you go back and watch like people's Premium Blend or Comedy Central half hours from years back, people who right now are amazing
right
comics, or people who, you know, that aren't around anymore from back in the days, and you watch it, you're like, this stinks. It's not good. It's just, but it wasn't. It was great back then, but now it's all been said.
Got it.
And now that style has gone away, and it's like, it's considered, everything becomes hack after a little while. So you have to invent new ways to do it. So somewhere out there right now, comedy is always getting better and always progressing and doing new original stuff. And so I think it's still good. I still think it's great. You're just not always seeing that stuff make it to the top, because there's a lot of, the art isn't what it could sell, but right now we're at a stage where people are selling, or trying to sell, or believe that the dollar is tied to something more than just what the straight jokes are.
Got it.
There's plenty of people who are amazing comics that just are just under your radar. I'm assuming that if you got them, you'd be like, this is brilliant.
What makes Chappelle so special?
Makes him, he's the best. I mean, he's, my opinion, he's just the best. He's absurdist, but then also smart. He's got great delivery, and he's very, you know, to a certain bit original. He's now found his way to be able to be political but still funny, say what he wants. He's beyond, you're not going to be able to take anything away from him now.
Can't cancel him.
Yeah, so he still has the ability to do that stuff. So I mean, he's just naturally funny. He says funny. Half the things I think are funny are just because he said it one time, and I'm like, his delivery is unbelievable. His voice,
his delivery is unbelievable.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah, I mean, he's just, I don't know. For me, he's like my favorite. But you know, him, totally different than that. Like Dave Attell's great, totally different style. But you know, those guys were like my favorites.
You find Rogan funny? His stand-up routine?
Yeah, I mean, I like jokes. I mean, here's the thing. I should probably say this, that I don't laugh anymore, Eric.
Okay.
I don't know. It's a real problem. Once you get, I had a friend who went to college, and she did it for singing opera. She could really sing, and she got into it. And the more she got into it, the less she started liking. And she's an operatic singer.
All right.
Great voice. But she starts to learn more about it, and then you start getting in the weeds, and then she can do it better and better and better. Yeah. But you start to see what's behind. Like, you don't know how to enjoy it as much. You lose that.
I get it.
So now, instead of laughing, I just go, I see what you did. Oh, that's funny. I say that's funny out loud instead of laughing or not, like a goddamn serial killer.
That's pretty crazy.
I'm just like announcing my feelings instead of doing it. Instead of just crying, I just go, I'm sad. That's what it's the equivalent of that.
Are you just so close to it now? It's kind of hard to enjoy. Like, not exactly the same thing, but when I got into the guitar business, I didn't play much anymore, and I didn't like the instrument. I didn't want to look at it when I got home.
Well, I still like it, but you just start to look at it differently.
When I got out of it, though, I got reacquainted with it, and the passion came back. You know, but during the time I was messing with it, it was work. I viewed it as a different thing.
Yeah, for sure, you do that. So for me, like, I love comedy, and I like the writing aspect. So you'll be hard pressed for me to say, what do you think about this comic, and be like, he stinks. Because if he's on the register, I believe they have value and they're funny.
No,
for sure.
I get that. I respect that.
For sure. Like there's people that I'm like, it's not my style, but I can be like, well, but I understand what they're doing, and it's great. Yeah, so I mean, I like just about everything. And when I was talking about stuff, I even respect that stuff that I don't like it as a laugh, because it's like, comedy doesn't age great. And then that person, I saw a special of somebody that is like one of my favorites, and then I see this one from eons ago, and I'm like, man, that's just rudimentary. But you put it into that, it's relative. You put it at that point, and he's like, oh, he's crushing. I just heard people since then actually like that. That's all.
Did you pay attention to the Trailer Park Boys at all?
Never could get into it. My friends all love it. Couldn't do it.
I find it funny.
I bet it. I don't
know why, but I will lose myself, and that's why I won't dive in there, because I'll lose myself.
That's my modern day King of the Hill, that I tried it multiple times and never did it. It never broke down. It never made it like barbecue sauce made it into my life. I've tried, and I'll go back. But it's just like that with songs, though. Like, people try to pump Radiohead down my throat, and I was like, and I couldn't. And the Beatles, Radiohead and the Beatles, people are like, you gotta listen. And until I hear a song at the right time, and then I hear it, then I'm like, I want to have all of it, and I want to be able to enjoy all of it. Haven't been able to do it.
Beauty music.
At some point, I'll get there. Just not there yet.
Yeah. Why is it that, or why do you believe that musicians all want to be comedians and comedians all want to be musicians. Why is that?
Glory boys. They're all everyone's a glory boy. Everyone wants it because
wasn't that a good song by Living Colour back in the remember the band Living Colour back in the late 80s, early 90s?
Not Color Me Bad.
No, Living Colour. They were
Yeah.
4 black dudes that played metal.
Yeah, I know they are. Yeah.
Before that was cool.
Black guys playing metal is now cool. Like it's
I think they made it cool.
Like Bad Brains.
That was later.
Bad Brains was after Living Colour?
I think so. When was Bad Brains?
Bad Brains, DC, Discord. Let me see. Bad Brains.
Maybe not.
I thought it was 80s.
Maybe not.
Where's Jamie?
Where's Jamie?
Bad Brains. They're probably at the same. I don't know.
Living Colour was probably 87 on.
Bad Brains, 1977.
Oh my God.
Washington D.C.
I
Pioneers.
know the name, but don't know anything about them.
They're punk reggae stuff.
Okay.
Clash stuff. Yeah, they're great.
All right. All right.
Why does everyone want the other thing? Because they want the
That's
thing.
the appearance, anyways.
Yeah. They always say like basketball players want to be rappers and rappers want to be basketball players.
It appears that way as well.
Never thought really deep on it, but I'm sure I can fucking lie and pretend like. Why do they want to do that?
It's a different kind of fame, maybe? Different kind of adulation?
I think because I'd say, why do people just like performing, and then if you told everyone thinks they're funny. Do you know that? Everybody thinks they're funny.
I do have no delusions that I'm funny.
Well, you're like the only person. Because everybody
I like to laugh.
People seem to think they're funny. So I assume that someone who's in a band.
Life's funny.
Life is funny.
Life is funny.
I assume that they're good at this one thing and then they're told they're funny and they can go on it. I don't know. I liked playing in a band, but I wasn't as good at. By failing at playing music, I learned how to try it at telling jokes. So I was always going to be better at comedy than I was at music. Mm-hmm. I think it comes from a similar place.
That's so esoteric. I hate when people say that, though. I failed at playing music. Like, no, you didn't.
No. I'm sorry. No,
you know what I mean?
I did. I didn't ever learn. I did
in terms
stuff.
Of making it into a business or becoming famous from it, you didn't do that.
But I had personal shortcomings that I didn't try hard enough, and I by not doing that, I learned how to apply to work harder enough. So
I'll buy it.
I think it comes from the same vein. I think music and joking, and I think it just comes from the same performative shit. So you just assume like, I went this way. If I would have worked harder this way, I probably could have done that. More ego.
What's the gauge of success in comedies? Is it like other vocations that money is the measuring stick, or is it fame the measuring stick, and how you even quantify that? Can you get personal satisfaction from the performance? Even, let's say it didn't go over that night, but you think you had a good fucking set. Can you walk away from that having personal satisfaction?
You're asking me personally?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, Eric, I'm not trying to be famous. And I mean that in it sounds silly way. This is...
Oh, I totally understand.
This is just fucking goofing.
Right on.
And it's I started doing it, and when it gets bummy, I'm going to stop. And I just do this genuinely. And I mean this, and I've said this on other podcasts with other people, and it's remained consistent. Mm-hmm. I always like comedy. I like working hard at it, and the rewards have come and go. If this is all that it is, it doesn't matter. I'm a 38-year-old man who lives in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Like, I started very late. I haven't been doing comedy a long time. Mm-hmm. I believe that if you want to do it from a fame standpoint, you got to get to LA or New York.
Right.
And you got to do that. I'm not going to do that, at least at this point in time. So for me, it's, am I getting better? I'm getting better at this thing. That's all I give a shit about.
You're honing your craft.
That's it. I like comedy a lot. I like the writing aspect. I like the performing aspect. I like to hang out with people, and I get to do it some cool places. So literally, I'm close to topping out of what I even expect expectations. Mm-hmm. I'm almost there. Like, I'm not reaching for the stars in a sincere way.
But there's an innate beauty in that, and that's where that concept is so. I don't know that it's not proliferated in society. The opposite seems to be on the mindset of everybody all the time.
I'm very lucky in that I've done well, at least for right now. Things could change tomorrow.
Sure.
It doesn't matter.
That's life.
Right now, I'm happy where I'm at. And so I get to just work real hard on this thing that I like as a hobby on the side. And if something cool comes from that, then I get that. And if it doesn't, I opened up this weekend. I did a show. I slept in my car. Which this weekend I opened for a dude that like a really good comedian here in Pittsburgh, because I was around people that I liked and they needed someone to fill in.
Right.
And then at an A club with people that I enjoy, and then I bounced up to Buffalo to another A club, or with somebody else that is a big time comic, that I really appreciate, and I got to do shows with them. Got to do with a couple other buddies who were on the show that I really enjoy, and then I did that. I just got back into town. I did that from Thursday to Sunday.
That's quality of life, right?
Thursday through Sunday, I got up in front of thousands of from an acute, over 1,000 people, and got to just say stuff that, and I knew how to make them laugh, and they responded, and then it made it all worth it to get up and go back to work and do my thing, because I just get to do this on the side. And if I lose sight of that, then I'm fucking up, because right now I'm just having fun. The headliner actually said that, because I was talking to her, and this weekend she's like, because I've had this conversation before, she's like, how pissed off are people that you get these opportunities and your attitude is, this is what it is. It's just whatever. And I was like, I hope that it doesn't upset anybody, because no one's competing with me. I'm not taking any food off of your plate, and you're not taking it from me. Comedy is an individual sport for the most part, and it is a meritocracy for the most part. And really, you're just trying to be better than you were yesterday. And you shouldn't be mad at me, and I'm not going to be mad at you. Just keep moving forward, and it should work out. And so if people are upset by it, then it's misguided.
I think so. I think that the idea that we have to, like you mentioned earlier, we have to compare ourselves in terms of progress or achievement on every aspect of our life, because the internet demands that we do, is a flawed way of living. And I think it's hurting mankind, not just Americans. It's hurting everybody. That comparison and that is expectations. I don't want someone to dictate to me what my expectations are supposed to be for myself.
Sure, yeah, you can.
I didn't want an adult doing that before the internet telling me many years ago. I mean, why would I want it today? Is some corporation telling me, or some company trying to sell me something? There's a better, more sophisticated way of living than that. It's foolish. Because then what's business and what's fun, see? Like, at that point, I don't want to... This show is for fun.
Yeah, good.
With an idea that anything can happen, I really don't care.
Right.
Business, the real estate business, that's what my vocation is. That's where I have my energy, and that's where I put my effort, my real effort into feeding my family, making sure things are great. I don't mix the two. You see what I mean? Like, there's no reason to. Like, I don't need the same achievement goals here that I would have there.
You can compartmentalize your life. I think you should.
It's not hard, though.
I don't think so. I mean, I think that they're two, from a creative standpoint, I do feel sometimes it is hard you're using your brain in a different way when you're, like, for my professional life versus my creative life. There is I switch gears every single day to go out and do it, which I'm lucky but it's something that I've had to work on to make my mind nimble to bounce back and forth.
It's a skill.
And I do a lot of real weird things where, like, this is how I do things right here, and then I turn that off and I move over to here so I can get in the mindset of this. But
as long as it works for you inside, you're congruent with yourself and you can make it work, then it doesn't matter what anyone else would look at that.
And that's not knocking people who want to look at this and get... And they're like, I got to do this. I got to get famous. Then there are people who can become successful. I would ask
them, what's the reason they want to become famous?
I think a lot of people want to be famous because for fame, but also it'd be nice to make your living doing something that you enjoy doing and that had celebrity to it. If I can make it'd be cool. Okay. I personally find it
I get that.
I get homesick real easy. Tell you what, it wasn't easy. Just even 4 days in a row. Just I slept in my car on Friday because a lot of hotels are on allowed to fill up halfway right now because they're not staffed enough.
Right.
So I couldn't get a hotel room.
Right.
So I went to my friend's house and I was like, hey man, I need, like, it was late after the club. We were hanging out, just goofing, and it was, you know, it was getting late. So staff and like the manager and myself, we were all calling every single hotel in the Buffalo area. Wow. Everyone was done. Like, was filled up. And they were offering me, like, you can sleep on the couch. And I was like, yeah, but like, do you have my sleep apnea machine? I can't do that in front of you. I have to do it in a place where I feel comfortable. And
come on, you serious?
Dead serious.
Okay.
No, I'll wear my sleep apnea mask in front of other people. But so I called my friend who lives in Buffalo, and I was like, hey, can I stay at your place? I don't want to stay on these people's couch. I can't get out. And he's like, sure, man, come on by. This is getting pretty late. I was like, all right, I'm on my way. Like 20 minutes later, and then he fell asleep. Door was locked. Didn't answer the phone. Didn't answer the door knocks, the text messages, nothing. So I just had to.
Got it.
I slept in the car, like in his driveway on Friday. On Friday. I don't know where I was going with that. Something I think I just wanted to say that I did that. But I don't know. That was still like, it sucked, but I don't know.
I think I was told by a rather wise guy a long time ago. I don't mean wise guy in a bad way. A man of wisdom told me, if you can marry your vocation with your passion, that's the closest you'll ever find to ecstasy beyond the sexual realm. Because if you can marry those two things, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah, that's right.
And you know, that's the closest to living a fulfillment of life, no, or something to do with being fulfilled every day, because you're not toiling for somebody else.
Yeah, I think that's a thing, and a lot of people want that. I was just simply saying that I'm a homebody, and I slept in my car, and I didn't like that. I'm sure. I didn't like that, and I've seen people on the road who've been doing the road hard to try to get there, and I was like, oh no, I'd like to be home with my dogs, hanging out. So I don't think that I would last very long from an emotional standpoint. Right, so it's a safeguard I've made in my life to where, like, don't think I could get to, if the opportunity were to present itself, I think that I was being honest with myself, being reflective. Yeah. I don't think that I'd perform well from an emotional standpoint, and I'm not trying to live in a way that makes me sad or makes me feel uncomfortable.
Right.
Because this weekend, like, I was done. I was like, all right, that was enough for me. If I had to do that 36 weeks out of the year, be away from my home and sometimes sleeping in my car, or in the hopes that I sometimes make it back in, nah, dude, I'll do the local shows. I'll get to open up for a couple of my people that I enjoy, that I look up to, make some friends, and get better at writing jokes. Done.
You're good. Did you have fun?
It was great.
Yeah, come back and see me.
Whenever you want, man.
Yeah, I have some ideas. We'll talk.
Yeah, let me know. Turn these things off so that way we can say really wild stuff. You guys should have heard what he was saying before these cameras got turned on. Like, he keeps talking about like judgment-free zones. He said some wild shit.
Well, expectations-wise, I want to know, what did you expect coming in there? Was it about what you thought? I mean, did the show turn out as you kind of thought it would be, or what was your expectations?
Yeah,
did you have any?
Yeah, do you want to know the truth?
Yeah, I want the truth.
Do you want the truth? I was like, all right, this is you do a biographical, or in a lot of, like, I did real quick, check biographical, and so you did not go biographical because we didn't let it go there. So then I realized, like, we are just gonna riff through this stuff. We'll hit a couple of comedy things, and that'll be it. So my perception when it came in was like, very, Joe Rogan experience, having people on from different things, just having a conversation about it. So I was like, it'll free flow like that, but almost like Marin does clearly biographical. He starts from the beginning to the end. Those are my main. I was like, all right, is he marrying those two worlds of doing biographical with Joe Rogan freeform conversation? And so I think they went more freeform in it.
Yeah, for sure.
You didn't do as much biographical. That was my only expectation. I was more like, what will I get into saying? Because I know that again, be honest, I know that I can see your leanings and see, not leanings too much, but like what you like to see and how you perceive things. Okay. And you like the conversations that you like to have in a little bit. And I was like, a little bit. I was like, I get myself in some weird water right here. Because I sometimes don't think before I say stuff, and sometimes I'll try to like be funny first. So I was like, when I first asked you,
I have no agenda.
No, but when you asked, like, when I asked what kind of was, it's like, do I come out and be funny for comedy podcast?
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Because again, I'll change things.
Yeah.
I'll go a different mindset if it's about being funny. So then I was like, okay, if I'm in the funny mindset and he starts, asking questions about stuff that intrigues him in the comedy world, which is stuff that we covered. I was like, will I, if I'm being funny, go out on a limb and say something crazy?
I get it.
And so that
how much of the theater will you bring in as opposed to just free riffing?
Yeah, and talking in a more sincere way.
Of course.
So that was my perception of it. That's kind of what it is. And how do you respond to that, Senneca?
Right
and
on.
Will you catch yourself saying things that you didn't want to, or exposing yourself in some way? Because I'm sure we're cutting this part out, but
no, we're not.
You piece of shit. I'm sure that I was like, I don't like to get into personal stuff.
Yeah, right on.
I don't. I like to be, but I like to talk shit in the moment.
I think it's fascinating to me too what the perceptions of what we're doing here now that we have like a couple hundred shows under our belt. I like to see if the show ends up being similar in any way to what the guest perceptions were coming in. It's fascinating to me.
It's about what I thought.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's good.
It was almost exactly what I thought it would be.
Cool.
Didn't have to make some jokes here and there, have some conversation about
that's good news.
The world in which, and you've talked to other comedians. Who have you talked to here?
Cool.
I was going to put way more on you, actually. That was my plan. I'm going to ask him a whole bunch of questions.
You can do that. I like comedians because you guys are very talkative and you're very engaging, and I like to laugh. I do.
Sure.
And so comedians are natural for me, but I've had business folks on, attorneys. I have regular old folks. We get together on a round table and just go at the topics of the day, and it's really great conversations, and people seem to dig it. I don't know why.
Sure. It's a popular format now.
It is a popular format. I think again, we talked about the professional thing. I think we're trying to do it the right way, visually, audibly, the whole thing. So,
LA comics, there are more podcasters now than there are comics.
I guess. I guess.
The headliner that was there this weekend, she had a lot of people that were there for her podcast.
Wow.
And she's a good comedian.
Wow.
And she's a great comedian, but you could tell, or at least that was what I was checking in with, how they were responding to things.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I was like, I think these people are podcast fans.
They could be.
More than, because stand-up fans are they're getting smart. They see things a lot better. And podcasts, there was something different. They were a great audience. They were awesome. And I was trying to figure out, is it because they're podcast people who are listen to things in there's more space for dialogue. They get into it. So when I give them something that I know, it's got this many laughs a minute, I know where this is going. If they're normally into like funny conversation, if they're getting hyper done funny conversation, because they were great this weekend.
Got it.
And I think podcast fans, I want to open for more people who have big podcast followings, because I'm telling you, the shows
there you go,
great.
brother.
That's what you do.
I appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
All right, friends, we're out.
Bye, Major. Fight your dad.
Hello, you're listening to the Eric McKenna Project.